All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. It's the first time I ever started a hangout and nobody's there. Okay, there's Adrian. Simply Deep, what's happening? I was gonna say it's the first time I ever started a hangout and nobody showed up. Q, what's happening? And Jero, what's going on? See who comes in. Hey, DeAndre, what's happening? Yeah, I'm gonna drop the link in a minute. Hey, Janelle, what's happening? Where you been? I, cats, when I call, you come. That's all you got to know. Don't play me, girl. So you know what I'm finna do. Hey, Ebony Brown, okay, from H Town, cool. Oh, the like button is to your left. Anyway, I'll drop the link. It's just I know I dropped some videos about about we're actually going at the Great Liberator. What the stuff in Fraser, and then the stuff about black male female relationships and that kind of stuff. So I just decided to just do an impromptu real quick to see what the buzz was, since I'm getting all these comments in the comments section. The topic is just the stuff I've dropped over the last week or so since the last hangout. Yeah, they were long, but they're basically they're more like intellectual studies, because yeah, it was less entertainment and more about information, because I wanted to prove something. That's where the ninja hands at. All right, y'all hit the like button since you're here. Kathleen Kennedy. I wouldn't be shocked being a co-producer. Steven Spielberg is all you really have to know. It was a narrative. Well, I don't know if feminism failed. When you say failed, what do you mean? It didn't work. It didn't work the way they wanted it to work. But as far as it failing, uh, it seemed pretty doggone successful to me. Thank you. Thank you, Craig Harris. Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. I was hoping to get some of the female detractors in, but I don't think they're going to show up. Nah, it didn't. It did more. It did harm. It didn't. It had some unintended consequences. But feminism actually worked rather well. That's how come we're complaining about it. Uh, the effects, they have a lot of unintended effects. DJ Batman, what's going on? Um, well, Kathleen Kennedy and Spielberg and George Lucas they all came out of that same group. They all came out of I think they all came out of the USC Film School. So I think they all came out of the same group. So I'm not surprised. I think they were um because George Lucas produced a lot of uh Steven Spielberg's work with I think it was what was his name? Indiana Jones. And then the what is it? The did the special effects for the Close Encounters of the Third Kind and all that kind of stuff. So they're all in the same group. Then you're like a submarine, apex predator. Okay, depends on the submarine. No, I didn't see the Whitney Houston documentary. I saw the film or the documentary. When was the when did the documentary actually come out? Oh, uh, yeah, that I think they didn't know what they were in for. He hasn't really. He's been kind of avoiding me a little bit. He's been trying to. What I think his scholarship has actually gone up. So now I see him using charts and actually doing more scholarly work rather than that emotional stuff. So they actually have to. I'm actually having them raise their level of intellectualism. So now they have to prove what they actually say rather than just scream white supremacy. Now they have to actually go out and prove it. So so I'm actually going to work on something else. It's something that Obsidian actually said. He asked because we were talking about. He was actually talking about the Frazier book, and I was talking about how Frazier was a mulatto elitist, which he was, and how he looked down on the lower classes. And Obsidian said something about what's wrong with that, and maybe they should change, and because of like their morals are outdated and blah blah blah. So I'm gonna work on something answering him because just because you're in a different pattern doesn't mean your morals are outdated. It just means that the pattern that you use doesn't fit the environment that you're in, and you just can't change somebody's culture in a generation. They just don't do that. It doesn't happen that way. So, but I got a video coming up for him, answering him, since he wants me to be his Huckleberry. Oh yeah, well she wouldn't do it without Disney's permission. She really wouldn't. Disney wanted to push that feminist narrative, and you see it. They try it throughout all their films, pushing the feminist narrative. The only thing with Netflix is because you could see it when they tried it with Jessica Jones. They're trying to push feminist narrative. It is what it is because that's where you know until the last film, which was Solo, it actually made them a whole lot of money, and now they have to rethink their whole strategy. You can jump
Yo,
anytime you
what's up,
want, Edward.
BGS?
What's happening?
Oh, okay. I ain't know, impromptu. I ain't know if there was somebody else you had to roast or are we still doing that again?
Who's that?
Ah, nah, wait. These videos you've been putting out,
Okay. Well,
the
they come.
matriarchal videos with Amory,
Uh-huh.
I guess. No, they've been good, some good work. I've been sharing them, man. You know, in fact, Jason Black did a 4 hour broadcast,
Mm-hmm.
which he was telling a sister what a successful man was. It was
Yeah,
kind of like
I heard
reminding me of
part.
like a BGS for women.
Yeah, I heard part of it, and she had to
Yeah, I'm
admit,
2 hours into it.
yeah, she had to admit that he was right uh, because what she was thinking, the way she was thinking about it was wrong, And sisters
Well,
they don't
she
stop
admit,
and think. Yeah, they don't stop and think.
well, she admitted it, but one of the things I point out because I left some really good comments, and shout out to Young Grizzly because he was in the comment section too.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, first thing I said after listening to it for 2 hours
Mm-hmm.
was, I love these women because now being a feminist is kind of a bad word now. So
Mm-hmm.
what they'll do is they'll say they're not feminists, but they say the same thing. And this is where when Cerulean says, walk like a duck, talk like a duck.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get that programming out of you. And goes back to what you were just saying about culture. It's
Mm-hmm.
so in the subconscious. And here's the thing, it's in a lot of subconscious of black men too.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah, yeah.
matriarchal thinking.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And that's what I try to focus on, because when you see it, it's like you literally see dudes go into hypnotic trances
Mm-hmm.
and start saying these key words. And I'm like, nigga,
Mm-hmm.
do you even
No.
realize what's coming out of your mouth?
No,
Like,
they don't.
oh,
Of course they don't.
anyway.
It's in the That's the whole thing. You've been programmed. A computer doesn't know that it's been programmed. It just does what it does.
And see, my problem is I used to have a bad habit when I was young. My mom used to cuss me out about this. Is rebooting the computer. I used to hit it, or I'd press it and turn it off, like press the power button to just
Mm-hmm.
have it go off and go back on.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's like a problem I have. I tend to want to do that with people. Like, okay, you talking stupid, so let me press this power button or slap the
Hey Q, hey,
desktop.
hey Q Wilson, how come I am not in your contact list? Talk about what's my email. As long as you've been hanging out with me, you don't know what my email is, man, nigga. But I'm gonna type it in for you anyway. Continue, Edward.
Nah, yeah, and
Uh,
that's when you start seeing me really go at it with people, because I've been on, shout out to Marcus. I've been on Marcus Hangout, and like me and Preem,
mm-hmm.
let's just say we've been going at it on certain things, because we agree on certain things,
Mm-hmm.
but there's other things, and you know how I can be,
Mm-hmm.
boy. And we've been having 8-hour hangouts on like Marcus's channel, and them things
Okay.
have been going forever. But
Oh, there was now
anyway, but back to this.
8 hour hangouts are the norm now,
Yeah, hey, it just happens like that. And to
huh?
be honest with you,
Mm-hmm.
one of them, because Marcus will hop off as soon as the stream is off. But some of them hangouts, have been gone on for 13 hours.
Yeah, see, you can't let it go.
And what it is like I'll hang off and
Hmm.
then I'll get back and I'm like, these niggas still here. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's kind of like a verbal chat where people are hopping on and off and
Hmm.
talking about different things. But going back to this Marvel thing, man. So can we talk about Luke Cage now?
You can talk
Like,
about
has it
anything you
been
want.
enough time?
Yeah, yeah. We talked about him last week. In fact, I'm getting ready to
Oh,
start to. In fact, the only reason I haven't started doing reviews on the episodes is because I've been digging in the Great Liberator's ass for the last week or so.
okay. So y'all did talk about him last week.
Yeah, we did. We actually got
Okay.
interrupted because we got how it is when we're hangouts, they get sidetracked. But well, Catch, you might
Okay.
ain't no sport. You should have watched it by now, Catch. Tough luck.
Yeah, we get. I will say this: another show that's out that's a lot better than I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
Is what's it? It's Cloak and Dagger.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a show on Freeform, which is like that ABC Family show, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
Marvel show about Cloak, which is a black guy, and
Mm-hmm.
Dagger, which is a white woman.
Mm-hmm. Oh
And
shit. Oh,
Cloak can.
oh Lord.
Oh, hey, it's been getting really good reviews, and this is the
Oh
twist that they
Lord.
did it.
The black women ain't gonna come out on it yet.
No, not yet. It's been getting great reviews because it's kind of like everybody expected it to suck because it was on ABC Family, and that's geared more towards kids. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a live action show, but it's been a lot better. So a couple of key things. Number one, it takes place in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a lot of that Haitian stuff going on with it. Number two,
Mm-hmm.
they switched it. And by the way, the dude's name is Tyrone, which is funny. So Tyrone comes from like an upper kind of middle class, family in
Mm-hmm.
Catholic school and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Versus the white girl, she came from money, but what happened was because of the backstory, what happened with her dad, they lost their money.
Okay.
So they went lower in class, and she had to end up. She ended up being these girls like she was good at stealing, pickpocketing. Versus Tyrone, it's still a dude. His brother got killed by the police.
Mm-hmm.
His brother got killed, so they were still into some stuff. But it's interesting when you have these cross-class arguments, how she can still, because she was young enough, and she was a ballerina when she was young, she can move in those circles, kind of like on some Ocean's 11 type of stuff.
Okay, because she's been socialized with higher class people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, because her current economic situation,
Mhm.
she actually doesn't even live with her mom. She has an issue with her mom. She lives in a church. And then what happens is the way the power set works is their
Mhm.
powers work together. So he can teleport because he goes into like a dark dimension and comes out, kind of
Mhm.
like Nightcrawler.
Okay.
And basically she can create these daggers, which are basically like, think of them as like angel crystals or something. And if
Okay.
she touches people, she can kind of see their hopes.
Mhm.
And when he touches people, he can see their worst fears. So it's kind of like a positive negative thing coming together when they bring their powers together, which is what this episode is going to be tomorrow. They can do some really interesting things that you'll go through with it. So this has been kind of a lead up, them learning about each other, them having, it's an interesting way they shoot it because they shoot
Mhm.
it where they have like parallels,
Mhm.
like they shoot both of them. It's really good. And it's funny because Tyrone's mom, he's kind of like, he reminds me of Sergeant Willie Pete because his mom is like a matriarch. Like she's not a matriarch in a bad way, but when
Mhm.
you look at the way the show is shot, she is doing all these things. She's in politics. He's kind of like a political insider. And then his dad is more like there saying support your mother and stuff like that
Mhm.
versus her
Mhm.
household is different. Whereby
Mhm.
her mom, because her dad died, she's looking for another patriarch.
Okay.
So she goes from guy after guy. And then it was it's stuff that goes along with that. But it's interesting to see how they shoot the different family dynamics. And then
Mhm.
you got the voodoo shit in there too with his girlfriend because he is with a black girl right now. But in the comics, it's kind of like Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and they will be together. Unlike, I don't know if they're going to do that with Luke Cage and Jessica Jones. So it's an interesting show. But yeah, it is a black girl, black dude, and white woman. She's an attractive white woman too. So
Okay, we got to. Okay, I had to check it out. I'm surprised the women haven't boycotted it.
Hello.
you'll like it. You'll like it. Yeah.
All
What's
right.
up, cats?
What's the name? What's the
Hey,
name of it? Was it Cloak and Dagger?
Yeah, it's called Cloak and Dagger. It's about 6 episodes in now, so you'll
Okay.
get a good.
What's good,
Yeah.
BG and everybody?
What's going on, Q?
Oh,
hey
sorry about that,
guys.
BGs, but I don't know how to
I
act.
just had a
Go
quick
ahead.
question for Edward, just real quick, and I'll hop off.
Okay.
Go
Oh
ahead.
shit. Yeah. What? So
It's nothing bad, I swear. I just wanted to know what time period that show was taking place.
um, they're being very coy about that, but I think Cloak and Dagger traditionally in the comics are older. When you meet them, they're very young now. They're typically not in high school. So I think this is early. I think this is. I think they haven't said that. They're being coy on the time period, and I think them being in New Orleans allows them to do that. But I don't think it's in the current. I don't know. I'm gonna keep you
Yeah,
honest.
it
But they
doesn't
have
sound current.
they have addressed that. But here's the thing, though: the corporation. You know how all these Marvel things has evil corporations? Is Roxxon, and
Mhm.
Roxxon is in the Netflix shows. Like I just rewatched Daredevil, and when Elektra was dealing with Daredevil in the corporation, that was Roxxon. And
Mhm.
Roxxon is also in the original, the old the Carter TV show that came out a couple years ago. Roxxon, the same powers that Tyrone has, is that dark dimension power that Carter was dealing with in the second episode with the black dude. That's the same power. It comes from the same dimension. Um, so they do have some connections to it. The very, but they haven't said what era. But it is supposed to be an earlier era, and that's what they're doing with the Captain Marvel shit. They're going back in time, so we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds interesting, so I
Yeah,
might
and they
check
got
it
they got
out.
sisters in it is. And here's the thing: in the show, they got like, okay, so Tyrone has a girlfriend or a woman leading up to a relationship, and she's black, she's Haitian, and they talk about some of the history, and her mom is deep into voodoo, and that's kind of a second storyline. So it's not, really, they're not together yet. I know that you don't care about it like that, but just to answer what you were saying, BGS,
Mhm.
but they will be together because that's a defining part of their relationship is the
Mhm.
couple. So
Okay. Okay. Well, in New Orleans too. Hell.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
speaking of
Oh,
voodoo,
oh
just
yeah, they
real
address the
quick,
racism. Yeah, so but that
real
come on,
quick.
how have you not seen Luke Cage?
Oh, I'm
I ain't even seen
I'd
Luke
be
Cage.
behind
I'm
on
still
all
on
of
the
this stuff.
blacklist.
Well, you can't. Well, you know you're gonna get spoilers if you're behind. It is what it is.
Hmm.
Mm.
But I was just gonna say real quick,
Uh,
because of so much, because of Essence Fest this
uh,
past weekend,
mm-hmm.
I've decided in my spare time I'm gonna go to the French Quarter, make up a bunch of ghost stories, and start charging people $100
Hell
each
yeah. Get
And
your
why not?
hustle on.
Get your hustle on.
Get your hustle
for
on.
those.
You been hanging
Because
You
around
know
they,
what's
angry.
funny?
Been hanging
She
around
does
angry man
that.
too long.
oh man,
You know what's
I
funny?
Know
saw
how
so
to
That
get
many
your
was
hustle
people
on.
downtown doing vampire tours. Now I always heard of the ghost tours. I've even been on a
Well,
couple.
you
But
know the
vampire tours,
that's
like
comes from what's her name? The
really?
interview with the vampire because she's from New Orleans.
Mm.
Yeah,
Was
Anne
it yeah,
Rice.
Anne
That's my
Rice? Yeah.
mom's favorite author. So I'm gonna just start making some shit up and just
Hell
walk
yeah.
around to random buildings.
Yeah, and they do that in the show. That's what's funny. All you got
Mm-hmm.
to do is go watch American Horror Story. That episode, you
Hmm.
know, that season in New Orleans with the witches and
Yeah, where
stuff.
they have Marie Laveau. She was
Oh
an
yeah, I love
actual
that.
person. She was an actual person. She was actually a hairdresser,
Mm.
and she was actually Catholic. And then she mixed some of the stuff with voodoo
Mm. Okay.
because New Orleans has a very high concentration of Black Catholics. Like
Mm-hmm.
like my dad used to be Catholic and stuff. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh well, yeah, they're French, of course. There
Hmm.
was a seat of, there was at one time there was a seat of the Catholic Church was in France.
Mm.
Yeah.
Especially when they came over here, but actually that's where the king was. You know, in fact, that's where the was it the king of France actually killed the Pope and actually drove out the Templars, drove them to Scotland.
Hmm.
Yeah.
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 So yeah,
But
Cause
that's
we,
all I had to say. So
yeah.
thank y'all for
Okay,
including me.
no,
Yes.
absolutely. One thing I would say is speaking of like feminism,
mm-hmm.
one
Uh,
of the women I keep saying is one of the if women want a black women want a role model of how to carry themselves, and I haven't
Mm-hmm.
checked to see if she's with a white dude or not. I refuse to check that. But if you look at Deadpool and Zazie Beetz,
Yeah.
like how she played that character and how they played it.
Yeah.
I loved how they had it. How she was she was assertive. She wasn't even really assertive. She was more easygoing, but
Mm-hmm.
she wasn't like a walkover. Like she challenged Deadpool, but she didn't overdo it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And the way they did the luck factor, I got to give it to Fox because Scarlet Witch has a luck factor too,
Mm-hmm.
and they really made that look cinematic. Where I didn't know if they would be able to make that good, and that was one of the highlights of of the movie. She really killed it.
Yeah, well, Marvel does a good job of writing. Well, outside of Jessica Jones, a good job of writing female characters and making them not too overly aggressive.
mm.
Yeah, because the thing a lot of women have to understand is there is a difference between assertive women
Hmm.
and aggressive women. Most other races, a lot of times because they're more patriarchal, you can't really be assertive like that and do because just the way they've been, dealt with. But in the black community, a black man really has no problem with a woman being assertive. The problem is you got a lot of women that they want to be assertive in things they have no fucking clue about. And they talk about their education as a pretext to say, because I have a quote unquote education, I know all things compared to a man.
Yeah.
And I just thought about something. You don't see black women talking about their education when they interact with non-black men. Not really.
No, well,
Hey, but yeah.
because black women look down on black men and always have. Go ahead, Q.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, I had a question about to steer the course of direction to the right a little bit
Go ahead.
about this the summit we had what Trump had with North Korea and what happened with NATO. Like, can you give me an understanding about that? Because I'm looking at it and I'm like, I'm not well versed in politics.
Okay, repeat it again.
like, okay, you know how how Trump had the G7 summit, and then he
Yeah,
went to the North Koreans,
yeah.
and then now he's sitting in NATO, and then in a few weeks he's gonna be sitting with Russia. What is this leading up to?
Basically, basically, um, he's changing American policy. We're getting more isolationist. The reason that, or the reason, okay, they're all separate things. Okay,
Okay,
because Trump doesn't really have a consistent foreign policy. He really doesn't.
okay,
Um, uh, the reason that he met with the North Koreans is because China had already brokered the deal.
yeah, I
He
know you
already
said
broke it,
that in a pretty.
already wrote a piece of deal, and basically what he needed to do is go say, basically that was saving face because he didn't get anything.
Yeah.
You know,
So
Yeah.
so I see that they.
but the G7 thing was they're pissed off. The reason there's a big row at the G7 is because he rescinded the deal that he had with the Iranians, and he's trying to force um,
Yeah.
all the Europeans actually accept rescinding of the deal, and the Europeans don't because number one they brokered the deal. He didn't ask them whether they wanted or agree with them rescinding the deal, and they still buy oil from the Iranians. So the thing is, it
Mm.
messes them up. So he was trying to strong arm them and not to into putting the sanctions back on Iran, which is something they didn't want to do. What was the third one?
Okay, so now that Trump pulled out with the Iranians, right?
Hmm.
And but some of the other countries still was in it. So
Yeah,
what's the limbo that they in?
they're not in it. The thing is do they defy the Americans, and then what's Trump's reaction going to be? You know,
Hmm.
because if they're still going to do business with the Iranians and ignore the Americans, then are the Americans going to retaliate with sanctions or whatever they're going to do? That's why there's a limbo, even though they're still doing business with them.
And then you got to understand too that a lot of businessmen are really getting a lot of like wealthy, pick the president type of businessmen. Even
Hmm.
people like the Koch brothers,
Hmm.
who are obviously clearly on the Republican side, but they're more libertarian. They're really getting tired of Trump because Trump is starting to affect their money. Regardless of I know he gave them all the money with the corporations and the tax cuts, but the reality is Trump is being disruptive, but he's not being disruptive with a purpose. Because just to go back to what you were talking about as far as saving face, because you said this before, there's an article on Politico or on Bing where they were talking about Eritrea
Hmm.
and Ethiopia are mending fences, which is a part of what you talked about like almost a year ago, as far as a lot of these easy issues to deal with, like kind of Eritrea and Ethiopia, like it's going to start being mended because China wants environments that are easier to do business in. So they're going to have incentives to want to mend those fences. You know what I'm saying?
They
And
have the money to make those fences mended too.
Oh, well, that
Yeah.
too. Yeah, that is what that's probably more so exactly. So
Hmm.
that's the incentive. So you're already seeing that. That's stuff that you said, and a lot of people don't. That's the thing, man. A lot of people don't pay attention to certain things. And if
Hmm.
I hear something like I'll when I see the connection to that, I'll be like, oh, okay. So now the dominoes are starting to fall into place. This was said like last year, boom, 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 boom.
Hmm.
But people don't really do a good job at like bringing that up. You know
Hmm.
how
So
it is.
so
People don't always
yeah.
think they're
So,
on point.
but the thing is, I think that's what the reason he's going to Putin is. I think the United States is finally going to have to withdraw and come out of Syria and the Middle East altogether for the most part. So
Yeah.
I think that's why he's
Yeah.
talking to Putin because you notice
And this is
the Israelis and the Saudis are actually meeting, are trying to meet in secret. So that means the
right.
Americans are
And this
probably
is
going to
what
pull out.
actually
Go ahead.
and this is what makes it so funny.
Hmm.
To me, Trump is a necessary evil because
Hmm.
I am priority one as far as in the black community is the black matriarchy needs to be dealt with. Because I see all issue with culture is what's issue with the black community. I'm not saying the dudes don't need to do what they need to do to get themselves up.
Uh-huh.
So an environment, all I'm saying is an environment that is conducive to doing that
How
is
do you
which is what Trump is.
how do you get rid of the black matriarchy?
You change the environment.
Yeah, that's true. But the thing is
The
that's
best way to change the environment. Well, there's no way to actually quote unquote Thanos snap a finger
yeah.
and get rid of matriarchy. That's just not gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing you can do, like you have always said, is change the environment. And even if you change the environment, it still will
Mm-hmm.
take time. So
Mm-hmm.
all I'm saying when I say that is I didn't vote for Trump. I voted for Hillary, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be on this Trump thing. But what I will say about Trump, I was leading that to say this. One of the things that I hear a lot of people reference Trump
Mm-hmm.
is when they support Trump, it's always on some emotional shit. It's always
Mm-hmm.
on some, he's a salesman and you came to it your own way. But when you actually look at him from anything that can be measured in a
Mm-hmm.
real data set,
Mm-hmm.
Trump fucking sucks. And people talk about all this King Kong chest beating shit, but
Mm-hmm.
Trump is making America look very weak, and he looks very weak if you look past a lot of this bombastic bullshit that people fall in love with, which is black people's problem.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I was saying with that.
So the question is Trump actually helping America, or he just playing in the cards?
He's playing the cards, but he's not doing it very well. Some
I
of the stuff,
mean,
a
The
lot of the
it's
stuff
answer
very
is
has
no.
entertaining though.
a lot of stuff has to be done. But the thing is, he's not as graceful as doing it. So, like cutting welfare, cutting foods, all that stuff is going to have to be cut anyway. The thing is that there's a way to do it gracefully, and there's a way to do it like a hack. And he's doing it like a hack
Mhm.
because he's really not trained for this job.
You know what? But you know
And
what I seen yesterday on ABC News is when
Mm-hmm.
he met up with the people. I think for like a representative of Germany. Trump
Mm-hmm.
is a really good speaker. Like he said, hey, he said Russia is controlling y'all. Y'all don't even know it. They own 70% of
yeah,
your
yeah,
energy. I was like,
He
wow.
but
they don't even know it. They've been, you know how how long Russia and the Prussians, or basically Germany, have been dealing with each other for like 50, going all the way back, what, 800 years.
Yeah.
They don't know the two people are
yeah,
always intertwined. What do you mean he does, they don't know what Germany doesn't know what Russia's doing.
and,
Yeah.
and another thing is from a black perspective, you got to understand that there is white people as you see it, and then there's ethnic tribes. And
Mm-hmm.
most black people, when they say white people, they say white people. They don't ever look at the various ethnic tribes and their own ethnic conflict and their own ethnic histories, and that's where BJ is talking about the Prussians and the Germans, which that stuff goes all the way back to, like, well, it goes back further. But if you hear it in American history, like as far as in school, you'll hear it referenced in like World War One. As far as that's when you really hear when we're talk about the Prussians. Because before World War One, you had like just like how you have the Germans and Austrians, where they're damn near the same people. It's just different countries, and these are things that most black people don't think about. So when you say Trump sounds like a good speaker, it's kind of like a pastor that knows how to quote a couple of verses of the Bible to someone that's never read the Bible. And I'm not saying this to be arrogant. I'm just saying, because I'm not the like most verse stuff on this
And
either.
McShane Vicious
But
Prussia does still exist.
but when I yeah. Well, all I was saying, all I was saying is to somebody that's never read the Bible, somebody quoting a couple of verses, if they can say it in a charismatic way, it's gonna sound like they know a lot of what they talk about. Somebody that's actually read the book, then there you got people that's read the book, then you got people that's actually studied the book, then you got people that are like agnostics when it comes to the book, so they can compare that book to the Quran and to the Torah, and how they all come together. Those are like multiple levels of people. If you've read the Bible once, somebody knows a couple of verses doesn't impress you. So that's a lower level. So my
Hold on a
point
second.
is,
Hold on a second. We're not gonna argue.
Ah, here we
We're not
go
gonna
again.
argue over in the chat room. Prussia still exists. Your rulers are still Prussian. If you read your history, if you Merkel is a Prussian, her grandfather was a Prussian. All your leaders are Prussians. The reason that West Germany was separated from East Germany is because East Germany is Prussia.
Wow.
Okay, get the fuck out of here. Right?
it's
It
kind of
wasn't.
like
It wasn't
saying,
dissolved
it,
after World War II. It still exists. Go ahead.
well, it's kind of like saying the Ashanti doesn't exist. Yes, it does. It's called Ghana.
Yeah.
Just because somebody draws lines that you don't understand because you're not versed in it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Just because your white controlled media doesn't tell you something exists doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Guess
You
what? Guess
know,
what? Greece wants to change its name to
What's that?
Macedonia.
Wow.
yeah. And Greeks are a lot darker than what people believe they
Yeah,
are. I
yeah.
mean, it's a lot of things. You see, this is where 5% passport comes into play. And
What you mean by
I hate
that?
to say it. Well, I mean, you got a lot of this is I can understand why like black people may not know about Europe, but you got a lot of black people that if I talk about like Brazil or I talk about Colombia, different parts of Latin America, they think all of them look light skinned and Latin when they don't understand it. Like Latin America is a hell of a lot darker than what you think it is because black people are looking at Latin America through the eyes of what they see around them and through the eyes of what I call the Miss America pageant. You go to Brazil, there's almost double as many African, and when I say African, I'm not talking about various levels of mixtures. I'm talking about straight up Africans. There's double the amount of them as they are African Americans under the one drop rule in the United
Mhm.
States. But people wouldn't know that because that's not what's broadcasted. And that's mostly the same thing in the Philippines. No, that's not as true in the Philippines, but there are darker folks in the Philippines than you would think. So you're looking I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna back off. There's a show that I really love. It's a very witty show. It's called it's on Fox. It's called Legion. And Legion is about Charles Xavier's son, and it chronicles that story. Very powerful, but he's crazy. Long story short, they have these segments, and I'm gonna email them to you, BGS, because you'll actually get a kick out of these. It's what's the dude that played Mad Men, the main actor. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're
You
talking
know what
about.
I'm
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the main actor, he does these little narratives. He's not in the show, but he does these narratives where he talks about certain like social behavior with humans. And the last one he did, because he does it every maybe 3 episodes, and the last one he did was he was talking about imagine if humans were in a cave and the only thing they knew about the world were shadows.
Hmm.
And then they went into the real world. They wouldn't
Hmm.
understand the
That's
real world.
Socrates. Yeah.
Yep, and he said the shadow was social media and like
Hmm.
your cell phone. And he says you everything you see is out of your cell phone or as a certain lens. So when you go into the real world where real people are, and that really hit me because that's not just black people. That's like millennials, and that's a lot of stuff that a lot of older folks like you, Ron, y'all say when y'all critiquing millennials, and that's very true. And it was just a very interesting way he did it when the way they played a whole bunch of shadows and they said like your whole life that's all you saw of the world. So when you went in the real world, you
Hmm.
have to compare the shadows and it's like an alternate reality. That's what they were basically trying to communicate. And they say the shadows are to your cell phone, social media, all that stuff. So my point is the media is a shadow. And if the only
Hmm.
thing you know is through the mainstream media, then quite frankly, you don't know shit. And I hate to say it that way, but our media sucks. Like hell, you can look at yeah, our media sucks. I'll end it that way. It's not your fault. Well, not really. It's just our media fucking sucks. So yeah.
Yeah. If we keep arguing, go look up Angela Merkel and look at who and look at up where she went and look up her family history. Okay, look up
Yeah.
Catherine the Great and where she came from. As far as Russia, are your white Russians or Prussians? Are your leadership in
I mean, why
Germany
do you think
Russian
they
or
keep
Prussian?
voting for her?
Well, Putin is a Prussian. Okay, that's how come he brought the church back in. Putin's a Prussian. Why you think that
And what is Trump?
Trump? I don't know what Trump is.
He's from
Because
Brooklyn.
I keep
No, no,
saying
no. I
that he's
forget what
no
he.
seriously.
But he is from he is from either Germany or from Eastern Europe. I can't remember. His father was.
That's what I was saying,
Yeah.
and that's what I kept saying. Like he's because I was saying he was the first Eastern European president, and then I said,
Hmm.
okay, I might be wrong about that. But when you look at that connection between that German Prussian thing, because there's
Hmm.
a reason he got all his wives from Eastern Europe.
Hmm.
That's not something you just do. You know what I'm saying? Especially somebody that Trump, you can tell Trump is very in touch with his family lineage. You can tell by just
Hmm.
like, when he talks about how, what his dad did and what
Mm.
he did. He's
Yeah.
very big on that baton shit.
Yeah. Nothing ever disappears in Europe. Okay. Nothing ever disappears in Europe.
Hell, they didn't get rid of the more castles.
So you think all them kings and queens are gone, and they're not. Okay, they're still there. And
They're called old money.
Yeah, Prussia still rules Germany, and it always has. Even when they cut it off and they sent because who was it? Who was it? The Chancellor of Great Britain. He actually demanded that Prussia being cut off from the rest of Germany.
Mm.
Demanded it. That's like East Germany got cut off and got sent east.
Now I got a theory for you. I'm curious
Hmm.
what you think about this. I've said this, but I want to put this to the BGS standard. That's what I call it, like the standardized test. I believe that the Roman Empire still exists today. I think the Roman
No,
Empire,
it's dead.
just hear me out. I
Hmm.
think the soul of the Roman Empire is the Catholic religion, because when
Mm,
Constantine started converting it, if you think about the hierarchy that
actually,
the Pope.
what's left of it wouldn't be the Catholic Church. It would be the Orthodox Church because Roman Empire moved east with
Oh, wow.
to what is Turkey now. It became Byzantium. Byzantium
Okay.
was actually the what's left of the rest of the Roman Empire and actually got conquered. So there is no more Roman Empire. It got crushed. What was left of it is gone.
Well, what I mean is like spheres of influence or stuff. Like when you look at the Western world,
Hmm.
a lot of because don't they say the Western world started in Greece,
Yeah, that's
and
what they say.
then the Romans kind of took up that mantle. And
Hmm.
then a lot of what you see, even though its origin is in Greece, a lot of what got spread as far as Western ideas, Western ideology was spread
Hmm.
more so
They're,
through
they're
the Rome.
they're all the same people because if you read Roman history, guess what the Roman elite spoke? They spoke Greek.
Latin.
No, they spoke Greek. Latin
Uh,
was a common word, a common language for the common people. Latin was what the common people spoke, but the elite spoke Greek. They're the same people.
which is interesting because when you look at like a lot of people that are Mediterranean,
Hmm.
they're not Anglo. They're not considered, well, they're considered white when it's convenient, but you know how it is in the United States. You had like your Anglos and your Germans, and then you had your more olive skinned Mediterranean, Greek slash Italian slash Greco Roman types, and they weren't considered fully white until, you know, you know how that goes. But you don't think about this as an African American. You just think black, white. You don't
Hmm.
think the complexities because it doesn't matter as far as your own personal experience within the United States. So it's the type of thing you have to go out of your way to really look at. But it's important because this is how a lot of these people see themselves, especially outside the United States. See, in the
Hmm.
United States, most white people just say, "Oh, I'm white." But if you deal with like Europeans, this is one of the main things that separate like Europeans from um, European whites from like American whites, because they didn't have that assimilationist process like American whites did, that kind of melting pot process. Mm-mm. So, just one for thought.
Well, because a lot of history hides underground. A lot of history hides underground. And until you start going back and reading the history and start rereading these connections that have been around for hundreds of years, then you don't understand. So people think, people think that Prussia and Germany are inseparable. Then they're not. They're the same thing.
Mm.
Yeah, the Prussians actually formed Germany after what's his name, after Napoleon ran through what was left of the Habsburg Empire. So the Prussians forced the German tribe together to form a country, and they've always had Prussian rulers. They've never had any other rulers except Prussians.
Was Austria a part of that?
No, Austria was never part of Germany, even though it was part of it. Was actually Austria was actually the head of the Habsburg, the seat of the Habsburg Empire at that time.
Oh, okay, because I know they have like ethnic. They are like, because isn't that's why Hitler wanted to unite Austria, because he
Mhm.
kind of considered it kind of like
Part of Germany.
similar enough.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're the same people in a sense, but almost, but not quite. Austrians are a little bit different than Germans, even though there's a lot of Germans that were actually in Austria. And remember, those are all a whole bunch of little kingdoms that were together, the Germanic people. And once the Habsburg Empire ran through by Napoleon, then Prussia saw I saw a way to actually form the German tribes together and make Germany. Germany's
A
not
lot
that
of people
old.
don't realize how far Napoleon, how strong. Like when you really look at a map of when Napoleon controlled at his peak. I mean, he
Mm,
had Quebec. He
mm,
had the entire Midwest of the United States, or what is the Midwest.
mm.
He had, Haiti, which Port-au-Prince
Oh,
was an
speaking of Haiti,
economic.
Yeah,
He
that's where they made
had,
all money.
and he had. That's why he tried to get it back after the 1804. And
Hmm.
then he had a lot of, obviously what you said with Europe, and then they
Hmm.
still have the francophone states in Africa. That's a lot of shit they had, man.
Yeah, yep. Still today, still some of it exists today, except it's like Hitler overreach.
oh. So what you
Yeah,
thinking
and
about
then
what's
and
happening
then
with Haiti,
yeah,
BGS,
He-
with
Uh,
with their gas prices and all of them revolutionary things?
people get
Yeah,
upset. They can't live. Okay, basically, the gas prices spike up like that. It shuts your economy down. And it gets
yeah.
too high.
But why would the government raise the prices on gas even though people can't pay it? That don't make sense.
Well, I haven't really looked at it, so I don't know why they did it.
Yeah,
There has to be a damn good reason if you're going to risk riots in
they
the
s-
streets.
they said something like they wanted to raise prices so they could get food for the IMF, something like that.
Food from the IMF or loans from the IMF or pay off IMF loans. What is it? I don't know.
Yes, something like that. Like
Uh,
I heard it, but that's why I was going to ask you about it because I seen a video on it on one of the what's that RT
mm-hmm.
news,
Mm-hmm.
and you over there like not terrorized, but trying to get the president to step down.
Yeah. So basically, when you do that, basically that's called austerity measures. When you start raising prices and stuff like that, so either they have to pay something off, or normally you try to pay something off because you owe somebody something. You've already gotten the goods, you got to pay it off. And I think some of that is because of the raising of interest rates. So now you have to find a way to get dollars to pay off your loans. So it
Yeah,
could
because
be
I
there's a
was
lot of
telling,
reasons why you did.
I asked my wife about this because
Hmm.
she's from Jamaica,
Uh-huh.
and I asked her what is like from her being from Jamaica, is it the same as the Chinese helping their country out? Would they help out the Haitians? And she said
Uh,
they can, but I don't know if
Jamaica,
they'll take it.
Jamaica is part of the Commonwealth, so it'll be the Commonwealth countries like Canada, Britain, New Zealand, Australia, in some parts of Africa, India, part of the Commonwealth. So if Jamaica gets any help, it's probably be from that group. It'd be from the Anglosphere
yeah,
group. Yeah,
No, I was saying
yeah,
like
and you gotta
can they
understand,
get
that's how come.
help
Jamaica
from
That's how
is
come
like
like,
Jamaicans can actually go to Canada without a
no,
big
I was
problem.
saying like like how Haiti like Jamaica got help from the Chinese.
Hmm.
Can Haitians get help from the Chinese?
They have been getting help from the Chinese.
Oh, they have.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
yeah.
because I haven't seen
yeah,
any like news about that lately. Because I know she told me that the Chinese made a highway in Jamaica and stuff.
Uh,
I
yeah,
mean, but
the Chinese are doing business all over, but they're supposed to be helping them with offshore drilling off Haiti. I think they built some
yeah,
factories in Haiti. They've been in Haiti. They're there.
Mm.
but you gotta
Oh,
understand,
and what about the
Caribbean is not the same
petro
thing.
coin from Venezuela?
So what?
The petro coin from Venezuela.
It's been sold. It's out there, but the thing is the banks are trying to fight it.
Can is it a way we
Yeah,
like me and you could like purchase
Nope,
them or it's not
nope.
ready yet?
Unless you want to get a visit from the Treasury.
Ah,
so
Trump
no,
cut off
I
that.
really wanted to
Trump
jump.
cut that off back in February. You want to get a visit from Cherry? Try to buy some petro coins from Venezuela.
what's the beef between the United States and Venezuela, man? Like
It,
really?
we get fucking 15% of our oil from Venezuela.
Hmm.
What if they go off the reservation?
Oh yeah. Trying to put people in line.
Yeah, I mean it's not rocket science.
I, Yeah, I mean, one of the things I wanted to jump back on this Luke Cage thing, like,
Hmm.
has everybody seen this on this panel real
It
quick
doesn't matter.
before
You go
No, I didn't see it yet. I'm still on the blacklist.
weapons free.
okay. So
Yeah, BG,
one of the
get my time.
Say what?
I didn't get my time to watch it yet. I'm
Yeah,
still on the
no, we
blacklist.
no no no.
I mean,
We
hey,
give everybody 2 weeks 2 weeks to watch it, okay, before we start talking about it. If you, hey, if it's a
We save it for Saturday, so give me a couple days to
no,
watch it.
no, 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 no,
No,
no, no,
no, because
no,
I've
nigga,
been waiting a
no.
Damn.
minute.
The first time when it first came out, I told Ed we'd give it a couple of weeks.
Ah,
And
Yeah,
it's
come
been
right.
more
on,
than a
man.
couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Damn. All right.
It's been more than a couple of weeks.
What up, BTS?
Hey, hey, what's going on, Thalia?
Nothing much. I'm riding with my mom. If you hear the background, that's reggae music playing.
Were you
Yeah,
driving or what?
barbecue.
No, my mom's driving.
Oh, okay. What's up?
Nothing. I was just listening to what you guys saying about
Oh,
Russia and Germany, and I was just thinking, as somebody who likes to buy, wants to buy property, is it
uh-huh.
wise to buy property in Europe or in Africa?
Depends on where it is and how much
Depends
it
on where.
costs and whether you're gonna live there or not.
Okay.
Oh,
Probably be
DGS,
better
drop the
buy
link. I
property in
think somebody's
Africa.
trying to jump
I
on.
keep dropping the link, and it's like how you join the hangout. I keep dropping the doggone link. Everybody keeps
Oh, I
telling
got
me.
you. I got you.
I got it.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah, man. Like one of the things I will say about, I'll start with. I will
Mm-hmm.
say this: I'm interested in seeing how they're gonna do Black Mariah's daughter's character in a future season,
Mm-hmm.
if they get to that,
Mm-hmm.
because they really did switch her season up like at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But man, they had a lot of matriarchal undertones towards the last like 5 episodes of the season. Like it was interesting how a lot of the stuff that they set up with Mama Mabel, how she passed that down to her daughter through, and
Yeah.
Mariah was
Well,
really attracted.
they dealt with it in the first season, the matriarchy.
They dealt with it, but you saw how it affected her, but you didn't see how it affected her as much until you saw how she grew
Be-
in
be-
this current season.
Well, because what else do we deal with? It's about them folks dealing with their past and with their parents. Because Luke Cage dealt with it, what his father,
His parents.
his parents, right?
Yeah.
And then Mariah dealt with her mama Mabel and her daughter, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
then you had
And she took.
what's his name, Luke Cage's a girlfriend talk about her mother and what she went through as a kid, right? So this whole thing
Yeah, I give him a
about
lot of credit.
it's the whole thing about even the what's his name in the barber shop. What he had to do, he had to go give a kidney to his daughter, right? They hadn't seen in a while, right?
Yep.
So this is just a running theme throughout the whole show. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, man, like I didn't think of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because you could kind of tell based on certain things that were
Mm-hmm.
said that like they had some black writers in there. And I
Mm-hmm.
was really worried about Luke Cage because I thought they would just throw it under the bus saying we're just gonna push this out. Kind of like how they did Sicario, kind of like how they did Star Wars, the solo movie.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
they didn't. They really put some serious thought into it.
because that's Marvel. Okay, Marvel handles things differently from what Star Wars is doing. Star Wars is there to push product for toys for little girls.
I'll say that that's probably changing soon.
We'll see. Well,
From
we'll
what
see.
I've seen about what they're so one of the things I was thinking about was like how they killed or
Mm-hmm.
how the last movie ended. And I was telling people that they're probably doing that because I've noticed in comics they started getting real agenda heavy,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they're going to bring the agenda heavy comic book characters over to the movie. The movie zone, and I think I saw an article that confirmed that like not too long ago. They said they were
Like
talking about
I
doing that.
I hear that, but okay, so this is one thing that has to be kind of looked at. A lot of times people go to the extremes on certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Disney is not in the business of losing money. And they're not in the business. Bob Iger is not in the business of buying properties and tanking them. So if he believes that there's an audience in being a social justice warrior, then yeah, they might do that. But they're not going to sit there and then they're not DC where they're just going to say you're going to take this stuff. Once the money starts to show it's not there, they
Mm-hmm.
will change course.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying is they're going to double down on the agenda. That's one. Then I don't think they're going to do that. That's one thing. The second
They
thing I want to
No,
say is
they've already made their money. They made their money back off the first movie.
Exactly, and
No,
the problem with your theory is they've already been doing that for the past 6 years with the comic books. Like
Mm.
for the past
but the
6 years
comic
with
books,
comic books, they've been doubling down on the.
And plus they changed the whole. They tossed out like 30 to 40 years of Star Wars canon to actually reboot it.
but so
So
when we say the comic books, what do you talk about? Are you talking about agenda heavy comic books in Star Wars? Or are you talking about in Marvel?
Both. In Marvel, they've real like it even got to the point where there were so many people complaining, and their units were so low that they were pushing
Well,
that
they don't care about
they
the comic books because the comic books don't make the money compared to the movies.
yeah,
And
the movies
also,
do.
when you look at
you say that, but now
But
I'm
it's
hearing
true.
that they're bringing over the
no,
comic
that's
book
true.
characters to the movies. They're
But
bringing
but
over the ones that
again,
don't sell to the movies.
but again,
The thing
so,
is, they're gonna what they're gonna do is they're gonna actually they might introduce their character, see how it does first, and then if it does,
but I
even if
can
there's no
already
interest, go ahead.
But I can already tell based on what you're saying is you're twisting understand Marvel is a different okay, Marvel TV is a different division. Kevin Feige does not control the TV industry. That's the TV part of Marvel. That's why I was making that statement about I was surprised at what they do. Also, the TV industry is controlled by the same people that control the comics as far as divisions. That's for Marvel. That's not for they might control Star Wars, but I'm not sure. But the Star Wars division is different than a Marvel, and I can tell you're twisting it because I've bought a lot of Star Wars comics, and there's not a lot of agenda heavy Star Wars comics. Now there's a lot of agenda Marvel comics,
Mm.
but with the Star Wars comics, they still have the biggest agenda heavy comic was the Princess Leia comic. Even Dr. Aphra wasn't really an agenda type. She's not a feminist. She's more of a smart version of Harley Quinn, kind of quirky comic. So you're mixing like a lot of the Marvel stuff and saying because that's under one tent pole of Disney that you're making conclusions based on the stuff that's not really the same.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as far as the Star Wars thing, as far as what they've already done, yes, but that's not so much. Okay, let me be absolutely clear. You are absolutely correct as far as there's been a feminist agenda in Star Wars. So I'm not denying that. Kathleen Kennedy has gone on record saying that that's what she was going to use the Star Wars platform for. That was fine for Bob Iger because Bob Iger believed that there was a female market to be tapped there and that you would bring on the men by doing that. It's not so much that Kathleen Kennedy has had an agenda to see issue. It's the way she's gone about it. Because let's be clear here, X-Men technically was an agenda comic. X-Men was replacement back in the wherever they wrote it for black people. So comics have always had agendas, and that's what a lot of people are not really trying to be honest about. The problem is how you execute it. And the issue is Kathleen Kennedy has utterly failed to execute it. And it's and because I'm gonna ask you this question: out of all the Star Wars movies that just came out, the recent ones, which one is your favorite?
None of them.
It's probably
None of them. If you could pick one and rank one, come on, man.
it's probably Rogue
None
One.
of
It's
them.
probably the one that's
Oh,
been my
Rogue
favorite.
One. Yeah,
Thank
that's the one I like the
Thank
most.
you.
And
Thank
they
you.
and they actually recut that film because when they put out the first trailers, it was really feminist heavy and it had bad reviews, so they actually went back and recut that film.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it had a lead, but the woman was still a lead. So what I'm saying is, and I'm not saying dudes want to see nothing but women. Of course they don't. And understand, so you understand me, I'm the type of black person that when they talk about making Idris Elba James Bond, I think that's stupid. I think make him another 00. That's me. So I'm not on this, oh, well, agenda is cool. Where it makes business sense, do it. I think you can get away with it in sub characters like Nick Fury. Technically is white and always has been, but in the Ultimate Universe he was black and it worked. So sometimes Domino is a white character, but when it works in some character, but certain iconic characters you should stay away from doing that because you're interrupting the money. So with all of that said, so I can pass the mic to you, Kathleen Kennedy, Bob Iger, rumor has it that Bob Iger did want to fire her But the problem that Bob Iger has is nobody wants to take that job because she's fucked it up so bad.
Mm.
So nobody really, now that the fandom is as split as it is, because you have camps that are loyal to Kathleen Kennedy, and then you have everybody else that's more traditionalist. The guy that could take it over, Dave Filoni, he doesn't have the business credibility to do so. And Bob Iger's a business guy first. He's a business guy first before he's a creative. So the problem with so Kathleen Kennedy kind of saved herself by how bad she fucked it up. So what'll probably happen is the men are going to fall on the sword. Like the dude that they said they were going to give him another trilogy. That's not happening because he's the one that did Rogue One. Also, another thing I want to say too is people would have been very forgiving of The Last Jedi. I'm talking about the overall public. Had you gave Luke Skywalker a fight sequence like you gave Darth Vader, and keep in mind that was like 60 seconds. I think a lot of people would have let a lot of stuff go with The Last Jedi, but the way you treated Luke Skywalker, and they're doing the same thing with fucking Lando, where they're trying to float the pansexual thing. Think about that. Disney purposely put that out there in the news. My thing is, there's not enough gay people to make up the loss. Black Panther made $80 million in its first year off in its first week off the black population alone. So for you to take Lando and then say he's pansexual, where is the money in that? That's my question. Anyway, I'll pass the mic to you. I just want to say all that.
Well, what I was saying was, well, first, I understand the difference between having an agenda and sacrificing it for a story. And I just didn't want to go into all that while I was talking. But yeah, I do understand the difference between the two. And I'm trying to say that Marvel umbrellaed under Disney, and I realized that Marvel television, Marvel comics, Marvel movies are three different divisions with different people directing them. However, I do also realize that there is an agenda that Disney has that umbrellas all the other things underneath it. And what I've heard and what I've read from an article is that they use the plot line from the Infinity Wars to usher in the characters that they're using as for an agenda that sacrifice for the story, and they're bringing these characters into the movie realm to do what BGS said, like kind of test the market and then see how it goes. You said they're not into doubling down when they're doing badly, but this is just another form of that. There's been no indication that these characters will ever sell, especially at least to the comic book crowd. Except for Miles Morales, who is the Black Spider-Man. There's like one of the few of them that's doing pretty okay, but the rest of them like really suck. So like I'm saying, they will double down. I think they will. I think they have no problem with it. They already have their money.
I mean, the comic book, like audience is a small audience, and if you look at, because again now we're switching back to Marvel. If you look at Marvel, because Marvel hasn't done that. I'm talking about the movies, because I don't give a damn about the comics. I like the comics more in the past, like the X-Men, traditional Spider-Man stuff. So the stuff you talk about, I get it, but I don't even pay attention to that anyway. That to me, that's brainstorming for what they could bring to the movies, which is the point that you said, and I get that, but I don't look at that like that. So my question to you is, give me some examples of the Marvel movies. Like, for instance, I just saw Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I'm not going to talk about it. It's not as agenda heavy as the trailers would have you believe, but I still don't like how Wasp came out. And that's not Evangeline Lilly's fault. That's how the director wrote it, and it was stupid, and it really showed. But when you look at the Marvel movies that has come out, which of these movies have been really feminist heavy? That's what I'm trying to understand.
I'm not saying that the Marvel movies that came out up until now have been. I'm saying that they use the Infinity Wars plotline to start doing exactly that.
No, we'll have to judge it when they come out. We can't.
But that's also exactly, and that's another thing too. That's also, you got to understand that they're rewriting contracts. Because what I've heard is more, you got Robert Downey Jr., you got Captain America. These are people that's been there for a long time, and they can negotiate a lot more money. And Marvel, this is why when you bring things in like Black Panther, you got a lot of these black actors that you can pay them a lower salary, but you can pay them better on the back end, meaning they only get paid very well if the versus, because Black Widow don't even have a fucking movie. Scarlett Johansson gets like $10 million a picture she appears in.
Mm-hmm.
not movie she had. So she got 10 million for Civil War. She got 10 million for Winter Soldier. She's obviously Infinity War, and she doesn't even appear in these movies like that. And she gets paid the lowest of the I think she gets paid more than Chris Hemsworth. In fact, I take that back. I think she gets paid more than everybody but Robert Downey Jr., to be honest, unless the movie is their movie. So they're gonna rewrite those contracts and bring in new blood. That is because I don't believe Black Panther was an agenda-heavy movie. That was just a different side of Marvel. And when you look at so you got Black Panther, you got Spider-Man, Captain Marvel. Yes, I think that's gonna be a feminist movie. I don't like Brie
Well,
Larson as Captain
we'll,
Marvel.
we'll see if it's going to be a feminist
Um,
heavy. We'll have to see. We can't judge it.
but
Till we have to till
but
we see it.
No, that's true, but I'm just saying now, if we go back to Star Wars, that
Mm-hmm.
has been very feminist heavy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You got to understand Bob Iger is going to look at the fact, because here's what Bob Iger doesn't want. It's not about a movie not performing well. It's even though that's the icing on the cake, what it's about is now the Star Wars fandom is split. And it's not even split on racial lines. Because like I said, black people are mad. Black people have been mad about Finn. I defended Finn. People could go on here 2 years ago and I was defending Finn getting cussed out. And I walk back because they never gave him an arc. You see what they're doing with Lando. So Kathleen Kennedy is pissing men off in particular across the board. And one of the things that Bob Iger said in it, a woman, by the way, because I follow one of my favorite people I follow is a woman, and she is very honest about these things, is she said straight up, women are not supporting. You're not getting an increase in women buying toys. You're not getting
No,
an
I mean
increase
no,
in women going to the movie. So you're not making it up by
no, they're
giving
not.
them all this attention. And now the dudes are not only not going to see the movies, now they're organizing on, the geekdom world, and that's starting to cost money. And that's Kathleen's fault. And even this woman said Kathleen should step down. Now, the problem is they don't have nobody that really wants to replace them. That's the
There's
problem.
somebody take those dollars. Somebody will take it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So anyway, that's that with Star Wars. I know with the Marvel TV shows, Jessica Jones season 2 was interesting because it was feminist heavy, but it also went into a lot of I don't know. I don't know what to think about Jessica. I mean, I don't think
It's
they've
it's
ever
it's
really.
it's a actually feminist leaning superhero movie, and to see if people will like it.
I'm
What
glad I don't think they're going with Luke Cage and Jessica Jones
Craig
in a
Harris?
relationship
Craig
though.
Harris,
I don't
how
think
many
they're
times
doing
have I
that.
dropped the link? How many times have I dropped the link? Try scrolling up.
One thing I'd say too is like I don't mind the feminist stuff when it makes sense, like
Hmm.
and when they try, like when they actually try to do some character development, when the character's not just some shell where you can insert. And I realize that's like a writing trope that people use, so you can insert so the viewer can insert themselves into that character's position, but they're using it so much, it's like it's like the story is being sacrificed for it. A good example of how they use the feminist angle and then it was still made sense. And of course, would make sense because Wonder Woman was a good one. Like I like that movie. It made sense for her to have all the stuff going on with she was made during the feminist era. She was made of that era. It made sense for her to be like that. So
Hmm.
when I was watching that movie, I was perfectly fine with it. But
Yeah, I do.
I don't think Marvel is going to do a feminist heavy Marvel movie because Thor Ragnarok didn't work very well.
oh man.
I mean,
Thor
even but
Ragnarok didn't.
are you
Everybody, Thor
sure?
Ragnarok
Thor,
didn't work. It didn't work very well.
Yeah,
People
it
still,
didn't.
I
You're
mean,
right.
it didn't, and
but Thor
people still complain.
Ragnarok.
People still complain about Thor Ragnarok. How bad a
But when
movie it
people
actually was.
complain
It
about
was
Thor
pretty bad.
Ragnarok, see, so personally, I like Thor Ragnarok. But
Yeah,
the
yeah,
issue that
but
people have with Thor
how
Ragnarok,
well did it do compared to all the other Marvel
you
movies?
talk about the third Thor movie,
Thor Ragnarok was the
or you
third.
talk about the second one?
The one where he's fighting his sister.
No, he fighting his sister. It was Ragnarok, was it not?
Yeah, no, Ragnarok did very well it did compared to the Thor. In fact, the issue that people had with Thor Ragnarok was they said it was too funny. They didn't have an issue with the core like with I forget what her name is, but
Yeah,
the
they
character in there.
he beat up Thor. She broke his
Look,
hammer, all that kind of stuff. They had
but
issues
that
with Thor
arc,
Ragnarok.
I get that, but they set that, but that arc was set up for Infinity War because
Yeah,
Thor was
yeah,
actually
well,
the strongest.
yeah, but they backed off of that feminist heavy stuff because
Well,
you saw a lot
Thor.
of
So
it.
you got
You saw a lot of it in Guardians of the Galaxy and
Really?
in Thor Ragnarok. Yeah.
wait. That's what
Guardians
I'm
of the
saying.
Galaxy too. I didn't know
That's
that.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, give me an example.
Uh, look at the stuff with what's his name and his mother, and then the chick that actually had was actually sensitive, and then it was actually a very heavy feminist movie. It wasn't as they experimented with it. It didn't work. It didn't go over that well. So guess what they
I
did?
mean,
They
but
kind of
Oh, you
Guardians
still
of
they
talking
kind
the
about
of
Ragnarok?
yeah. So
no,
with
you're talking about
Ragnarok,
Guardians of the
Guardians of
Galaxy
the Galaxy the
now.
second,
Okay.
Guardian Galaxy 2, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 didn't go over as well as
I
the first
think
one.
okay, yeah. So Thor. Okay, so if I bring up because I go to Box Office Mojo, Thor Ragnarok actually had them thinking them thinking they find because here's the thing, you gotta when we talk about feminist heavy, a lot of that amount of feminism I can look at in a lot of different Marvel movies. I
Hmm.
mean, that's even this is why Q's been talking about feminism, and he didn't even pick up on what you were talking about with Guardians of the Galaxy. Because there's gonna be people that like you got people. I know you're not Richard Spencer, obviously. What's that other dude's name that always talks a lot of shit? That Jewish dude. Before Richard Spencer, it was this dude on Breitbart. I know you know I'm talking. Something Schultz. I forget his name. But
Hmm.
every movie that comes out, he's talking about an agenda in every Marvel movie. Like
Hmm.
no matter what it is, he's pulling something out. So there's gonna be a certain tolerance level. Also, by the
Yeah.
way, with Wonder Woman,
Hmm.
a man wrote Wonder Woman too. By the way, so even though Patty Jenkins directed it, and that's credit to her because she's made it. So I'm not taking nothing away from her. But a man wrote that, and also the thing that they did well in Wonder Woman was to Chris Pine. That's credit to Chris Pine, and it's
Hmm.
also credit to the writing because the way they did it was she would be a ferocious fighter, but her character development was her being introduced in the man's world, and
Hmm.
that's where she had to grow. So the problem with a lot of these female characters is they come out being what they call them Lucy Lou's or what they call a term where
Mary
they come
Sue.
out being
Mary Sue.
Mary Sue.
Mary, Mary Sue's, and
Yeah.
that's why I feel like a lot of people, or I think a lot of people, like Rogue One the most because
Hmm.
even though a
Thank you,
woman was
Linda.
leading the team, you saw she had went through some shit. So dudes can kind of respect the resiliency. This is not to mean that men want to see 10 movies with her, but one movie like that, okay, that's cool. Versus when you got somebody like Ray, where it's Luke was not, they're comparing Ray to Luke. And Luke wasn't good at none of that shit like that. So how is Ray? There's no character, and that's what you were talking about with story. And I understand that.
Hmm.
And really, the issue with Kathleen Kennedy is Kathleen Kennedy said, "This is what we're gonna give you, and you gonna fucking take it." And Bob Iger was letting that go because the Force
Yeah.
Awakens made $2 billion.
Because Disney wanted
They
to
trying to
push a
sell
film.
toys, boy.
They want to sell toys and they want to sell cartoons to little girls. They wanted more Disney princesses.
More video games. They trying to sell. They
Hmm.
trying to get into the Nintendo market. You know how you got the little Marvel
Yeah.
characters. You put a
Girls
little.
don't buy
Yeah.
that shit though. That's the problem.
What they thought girls would, and the girls didn't, and it just started
Yeah.
driving the women. That's how come they will not go feminist heavy on Marvel. They're
What's
not gonna
going
do
on, everybody?
it. The
Hey,
Mad Titan witness, huh?
What's good? Witness the mic. um, to answer A Nail, he
Mhm.
said, "How wasn't she a feminist answer to Superman? Wonder Woman is not a feminist answer to Superman. Wonder Woman's character was originally created, just like Edward said, she was originally created by a guy, and she was an S&M character. If you put her bracelets together."
Mhm.
She didn't have any, she would
Yeah.
lose power.
Yeah.
So she was not originally, she was originally created to be this sort of sexually submissive type of character.
Mm.
She was the complete opposite of what a feminist would be.
Mm.
She's grown into that over time. And there was a time when during the certain ages of Marvel where they actually tried to take her really feminist heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was during the second wave.
And it failed miserably.
It failed hard. It failed super hard. They didn't
That's
know
why
what
they
the fuck
don't.
they were doing.
Yeah, that's why they don't. That's why they don't really. When you saw the Wonder Woman movie, I thought they were gonna try it, but they obviously learned from the comic book, and they didn't go that route.
That's how
You know.
come they didn't let what's her name do Black Panther, even though she was slated to do it first. They didn't let her within spitting distance of it.
Who?
No,
Who's that?
yep, because and by the way, when they say that people
Mhm.
leave for creative differences,
Mhm.
that's code for I fired you, but I'm gonna give you the the privilege of me not
Yeah,
saying I fired you,
yeah, because
unless you make this
she wanted to
hard.
include the world of Wakanda with the Dora Milaje being gay. So, oh hell no.
And that's
Oh
why,
man.
yep.
Yeah.
And that's why they went out of their way. That's why when you they put that scene in there with the dude
Yeah.
from Get Out, which made it very clear that she wasn't that, which is interesting because they
Mhm.
had you had the leader of the Dora Milaje, and then you had the woman, because that's not the same woman as the woman
Avery
that was in
DuVernay,
Civil
yeah.
War.
Boondocker said Avery
I mean,
DuVernay.
you
Hey,
say
Ava
that
DuVernay is
She
not
was
a good director.
she was actually she's not bad because I've seen some things that she did like
Well, Professor Black Truth says she's a piece of shit director. Like,
that's
so
Movies that she does.
I've seen
and
the stuff
that's
that
his
she
Professor
does.
Black
She's
opinion.
not
is
bad.
gospel.
Yeah.
I have to ask a question. When is the next season of Rick and Morty coming back? Cause I'm like dry. I miss it.
Hey, you're a dude, Thalia.
Oh my god! Like, oh, I miss Rick and Morty. I'm getting high off on it. And I'm like, damn, where is it now?
What
Cause,
was it? Is it
cause like
Netflix?
it's no, it's like Adult Swim.
Okay.
You wanna talk about an agenda? How about seeing all these? Every time I turn on my TV, I'm seeing a black woman with a white man.
Oh
Goddamn,
yeah,
that's a
yeah.
Oh
fucking thing.
god, I can't
Yeah.
stand it. I can't
You
stand
might
it.
as well
It's
And,
so.
and you can
might as well get
tell.
used to it. You should
Nah,
have known
yeah.
something when you had a black woman that was the Bachelorette. Should have known something.
Oh
And it's
god,
funny
I
Whoa.
can't.
because it's.
Go ahead, one at a time.
I mean, it's not gonna bother me. It's not gonna bother me personally, but that's gonna be implanted in Lottie's sister's mind where they're gonna be chasing that fantasy. Because my main show, and it got canceled, but it got picked up on Amazon, is called The Expanse. And
It's not the sisters that you need to convince. You need to convince the white men.
It's
yeah,
it's not worth it though. Like
You have to
really.
and
convince
the
them
white
that.
men and the white men look, here's the truth, and black women, I'm
They
sorry
treat
if you
their
ain't hear
women
that.
like shit.
Well, no, I'm not even. The truth is, white men look at dating a lot of sisters like black men look at going overseas. They know it's a insurance policy that if they want a compliant woman because of their white status, like for instance, a dude that's like a 6 can go and get a dude with a 6 and some money. When I say some money, I'm talking about like average money. Can get like a 8 or a 9 sister if they really wanted to. Sister, and here's the thing that a lot of sisters don't want to admit. Sisters try to act like they don't have sex with a lot of these white dudes behind the scenes. They do, because that's one of the things that came out of MGTOW. Is them dudes always bragging. They say they can get black women like it ain't nothing. So black women fuck white dudes behind the scenes a lot more than what they admit to.
And have been doing so. That's like they got upset with that book with Frazier because Frazier was spilling all the beans on that shit. Going back to
Frazier.
Franklin Frazier. In fact, there was one thing I pointed out that
Oh, okay.
that even even some of the well-to-do uh, white dudes had concubines on the side. Several of them had several black
It's a
families.
status symbol.
And
So it's not new. Go ahead.
to Dark Void.
Okay.
Nolan's Batman movie, the statement that you just made is akin to blasphemy. Nolan's Batman movies were not good. They sucked.
Okay.
And they sucked hard. And I'm gonna tell you something right now. A lot of the stupid shit, a lot of the goofy shit you have going on in superhero movies now are a result of the success of that fucking Christopher Nolan trilogy.
Okay.
Because this is why you have Ant-Man on house arrest, shit like that.
No. And like the anti-hero stuff, huh?
Yeah,
That's funny.
The whole well, let's make the superheroes realistic. Like that defeats the purpose of them being superheroes. And that's how you end up with Thor not being a deity and being a damn alien. Which I knew was going to come back to bite them in the ass, because now you're sitting back looking at Joel Schumacher's Batman. That never happened. cats. That never occurred. But that's how you end up with Thor being an alien instead of being a deity. And then as you move forward in the Marvel universe,
Uh-huh.
and then you start to have Doctor Strange, which is magic, which is not explained by science. Now you're starting to have certain things go on, and it's difficult to explain it because you've changed the Asgardians into aliens instead of deities.
I think the for Marvel Universe, if you're gonna have them like almost like regular people, should go into the TV like for Netflix and leave the cinematic stuff for
Yeah,
for actually bigger than life heroes.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't it's like Spider-Man is not going to do well on a small screen.
No,
Okay.
no.
And I think that's the way they should go. Like the Punisher, the only character I think that actually crossover is probably the Punisher.
Yeah,
He could probably cross over
yeah.
because he's more like of a Jason Bourne type character.
Yeah, well, like now, if you look at Infinity Wars, you have Thor being able to survive in space, and then you got to try to explain that. You gotta say, okay, well, how was he able to do that? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, if you would have had him as a deity,
yeah,
it would have made perfect sense because then you could say, well, he's a god, he's a deity.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because that's what they try to say about Thanos. They try to say Thanos is an eternal or whatever. It's interesting how they do that. I got a question for y'all though. What do y'all think about Joaquin Phoenix playing Joker?
It's kind of hard. After what's his name? It's gonna every other Joker is gonna be lesser because
Heath Ledger
is a classic. So I don't think
he set the bar.
He set the bar, and that's pretty high. In fact, it's too high for him because he killed himself from it.
Yeah, you can't top it because he died. Unfortunately.
Yeah, you can't top. Yeah,
you think he'd be better than Leto?
Way better.
Bullshit.
I'm not saying Leto was bad. I'm just asking.
Leto's Joker didn't have enough screen time for us to even. That's just like when people try to debate how good Biggie and Pac was. We didn't have a long enough career. You see what I'm saying? To really be able to delve into it and judge it. Like for Jared Leto's Joker, like you didn't have enough screen time to really see, okay, is he a good Joker? Like with Heath Ledger, like come on, I mean, The Dark Knight, that movie was long as shit.
It was.
And you had plenty of scenes with Heath Ledger as the Joker that you could literally sink your teeth into and say, okay, let me examine how he acted in this. Like Leto, like the reason why I give him credit for it is because he gives you the mob boss Joker. We've never gotten the real mob boss Joker. You know what I'm saying? So I would like to see him play the Joker in a movie where he's actually going to get more time to play it. But you know, yeah, you're right, Reginald Brown. Originally, they should have just got Willem Dafoe to play the Joker. He would have made an awesome Joker because he actually looks like him.
It does look like him, yeah.
Aesthetically, and you know that performance as the Green Goblin. I was looking at him like this nigga's trying to play the Joker right now. You know?
That's probably why he didn't get the Joker.
Yeah, more than likely. Plus, he's older, you know, and that's another thing. Like a lot of the actors that would make good characters, they're getting older. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, I'll give you a prime example. Wolverine. You know who I always thought would have been a good Wolverine? The only problem with him is he was too damn tall and he was too old.
Who's that?
Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he has the demeanor with the squinting, like the sun is in his eyes and chewing on a cigar and all that.
He's always pissed off.
Yep. And you know what? Here's the funny thing about it. I thought about that like when I was younger. And one day I was scrolling through the internet and they were showing pictures of young actors, right? I mean, actors that are really popular when they were young. I seen a picture of Clint Eastwood when he was younger. Guess who he looked like?
Who?
Wolverine.
He looked like what's the guy's name that played Wolverine?
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman.
Oh yeah. They do look similar. Yeah.
I was like, oh shit.
He
Yes.
make a
Just a thinner version of
yeah.
him.
Yeah. I was like,
He
oh
make
shit.
a great solid Snake.
Oh,
I
who?
think Tom Hardy would make a great Wolverine. I think Tom Hardy is stock.
Man.
No, when I said Clint Eastwood, I meant Solid Snake from the video game.
Man,
Clint Eastwood would look good for that.
the only person that I could actually see playing Wolverine is Tom Hardy. Because he's the only
But
one.
what they're doing with this Venom, yeah,
No, go ahead.
that Venom movie's gonna suck.
Oh yeah, it's gonna suck hard.
I already feel it. And it,
Yeah, man, that makes me
Why-
sad. I love Spider-Man. They
why
fucking
did-
Venom all the way up.
Why does it have to suck? We haven't seen it yet.
It's gonna
You can
I mean,
tell
you
it's
can,
gonna
you can
suck.
kind
Look
of
at it.
tell. You can kind of tell. Like I've seen enough trailers and stuff. You can tell when
it's gonna
the
suck.
shit
All
ain't.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
That
Let me
shit
tell you
is
something.
gonna
You know the vibe.
It's gonna bomb.
You know the vibe I get from that trailer? I get the same vibe from that trailer that I got from that new Fantastic Four movie they did.
Oh God.
They have never done a good Fantastic Four movie.
Nah, they
That's because a big,
Can't. Yeah, probably can't.
that
well,
title
a
is
big
cursed.
reason. A big reason. Well, I don't even think that. I think a big reason why they done it so bad. Okay, let me give some positivities on Fox. It's unfortunate if Fox sold their 21st Century division to Disney because Fox finally got it right with doing rated R movies. I think that was like their niche because when you look at Legion, you look at The Gifted, which they're going to do a season 2 of that, and that was more of a R-rated content on their channel. And you look at Deadpool and stuff, they finally got it right. Even the Powers in Deadpool 2. The only other X-Men movie that probably compares to it would probably be Days of Future Past. So they even got the Powers pretty much right as far as manifest. But other than that, when it comes to Fantastic Four,
So what's going to happen when Disney buys Fox?
when Disney buys Fox, they firing everybody, and pretty much what they're going to do is they're going to introduce these characters like slowly. Now, me personally, and I'll say this when it comes to Fantastic Four, Disney is much better equipped to do the Fantastic Four than Fox is. But I do fear what Q was saying, or what Black Wizard, whatever. That is something they might try to go feminine. They may try it.
Oh please! No, leave Deadpool alone.
No, not Deadpool. Fantastic Four. I can see them trying to.
Deadpool's already done. Deadpool's already. It's a wrap for Deadpool. Deadpool.
Yeah.
I knew it was a wrap when they came out with the second movie because, like, I just knowing him from the comic, I was like, what else can they really do anyway? Like, the only thing they can really explain is his relationship to other characters. That's it.
Well,
like,
they are going to do
I think they kind of they overdid the comedy in the last Deadpool.
No, they're not gonna.
That pansexual shit. They
can't do X-Force. They killed all the characters.
No, well, they're going to do X-Force. I mean, they're going to.
But what I'm saying is the main characters that are in the only character that they didn't kill that's actually in X-Force is Domino. They killed Shatterstar. They killed that. Shatterstar is one of the main X-Force characters. They turn him into comic relief.
I really don't know because the thing is I know they're not going to keep Domino, which is unfortunate. They're going to keep Deadpool, but that's just what the property is going to do. But I don't see how they fit that into his universe because Disney does not want to do R-rated movies. I just don't know. But Ryan Reynolds is politics.
I don't think Disney owns the Deadpool, do they?
Yeah, no. Disney. Bob Iger stated.
I don't think
Bob Iger.
They own the rights now.
They don't own the rights to Deadpool because they were actually talking about it.
They do. Bob Iger has stated that Deadpool, if Ryan Reynolds is the only character, they're guaranteeing that they're going to keep. The rest of the actors are probably going to get fired. Now, me personally, y'all may think this is stupid. So I'll say that, but I stand on this. I actually think Jennifer Lawrence will make a great Susan Storm.
I think you're crazy.
Jennifer Lawrence, who does she play? What does she play in?
Hunger Games.
Oh shit!
Hell
no! They need to get rid of. They need to get rid of that bitch. She's the reason. She's the reason that freaking what was that movie? She's the reason that Apocalypse, the Age of Apocalypse was bullshit.
Okay.
Because they centered.
Well, yeah, because she didn't want to wear that.
No, they centered the entire like. This is what they were doing in with Fox, and they do this a lot.
Mm,
They'll take whatever movie star
mm-hmm.
that is the most popular and
Okay.
whatever character they're playing, they'll center the movie around that character.
Yeah.
So because of the fact that she was so popular, they centered the movie around Mystique, which was bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and but that's Fox's fault. I mean, you're
I mean, that's
absolutely
not just
correct.
Fox. So, like
Basically,
a
I
lot of
mean,
times, these
they
agents
they-
of the stars will negotiate.
no. What
I
it is,
mean, Disney
what it is,
won't do that.
no, what it is that you want the name to be a box office draw.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
I really
and I
want
mean, all
Donald.
Old
I would.
Hollywood term is called star vehicle.
Yeah.
because I actually think
I
Emily
really.
Blunt would have been a much better Captain Marvel than Brie Larson. Because if you see Emily Blunt in Edge of Tomorrow with
Mhm.
Tom Cruise,
Mhm.
that is literally exactly what she has the build. She has the kind of temperament. If she just calmed down a little bit,
Mhm.
that is what Captain Marvel
I
would have
just
been.
wanna
Brie
see-
Larson. I don't
Brie
like
Larson.
I just want to see.
Captain Marvel got turned down by
huh?
So what? Guess
Captain
guess
Marvel
speak up,
was
Craig.
turned down.
By who?
You Borgen, Craig. Get into the mic a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Emily Blunt. She turned down Captain Marvel.
I can't. I'd have to.
Let me tell
I'm
you
not gonna say
something.
I have no reason to think that's not true, but
Unless she was doing something else. Unless she might have-
Let me-
I believe she had a pretty full schedule.
yeah, that's
Let
probably.
me tell you something
okay.
about Captain Marvel.
Mhm.
I just want to see Rogue drain her damn powers and kill her and be done with it.
Hey, you
That's not
gotta
gonna
have at least
happen.
one feminist hero. Come on now.
No, that's not going to
Make it
happen
Rogue.
because
Give him one.
No, I love Rogue.
Dr. Phil
I mean-
Valentine, he did a write-up recently, and he tends to be on the money a lot, and he's according to his speculation,
Mhm.
she's going to be the one that defeats Thanos and wins, the Infinity Gauntlet back, female Captain Marvel.
Well, we all know that's what they're leaning towards. They're gonna come up with some sort of bullshit. Tell you, you're breathing really hard into the mic.
Oh, sorry.
Man, what the fuck?
Are you
Um,
you vaping,
Vader,
Talia?
man.
She's
Yeah.
vaping.
No, I know. No, I got a cold. Sorry.
Okay.
That's what they're trying. They're trying their best to lean towards that shit. And see, I'm gonna tell you why it's gonna come off phony as hell. It's gonna come off phony as hell because the way Thanos was owning them niggas,
Mm-hmm.
to have one person come along and do something to him it's gonna come off whack. Now if they write it well, where they have like if they do some sort of alternate universe where he has to face off against them again and he has to face off against everybody including Captain Marvel, then I could kind of be like, okay, yeah, they're gonna fuck him up.
Yeah,
But
because they kind of said too. There was a theory that's in a rumor mill in the geekdom community as well that the Hulk, one of the story arcs, because Universal still has like half control of the Hulk, and this is why they don't make a Hulk movie, other than other reasons because it's too much CG and stuff like that. That they're trying to create the Planet Hulk thing was in Ragnarok. They had the arc that they had in this movie, and then they're going to come out with Professor Hulk, and that's going to be a more powerful version of the Hulk. That's why they had one movie with just the Hulk. Yeah. So that you gotta remember, at the end of the day, Kevin Feige is a white man, and Kevin Feige has put his bets on Chris. What's the other dude? Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Hemsworth. And then they got lucky. They didn't expect Black Panther to make the kind of money they made.
No,
You could tell they didn't expect that by what they did in Infinity War, because they wouldn't have did him like that in Infinity War if they thought it was gonna make that kind of money. So they'll readjust. Shuri is going to be a character they try to put in there from a feminist standpoint too, because she's really occupying a lot of the mental space that T'Challa will occupy, which is something that gets on my damn nerves. Because I like Shuri, but they need to make it clear that T'Challa is on par with Shuri as far as intelligence. It's just he has too much to do being king, so that's what she does.
Yeah,
but they don't do that.
I don't think they're gonna do that because I noticed
They
something.
won't.
Because the black women love it too much. Yeah.
When I rewatched the Black Panther, I noticed something that was said in there that I didn't notice before. And when he came back home in that scene where his mother and his sister was up there and she was like, I know, and he was like, what do you know? She said more than you. And it wasn't corrected. Like
Oh no, she was insulting him through the whole movie, clowning him.
like a baby sister with him.
Yeah, and
that's kind of how they wrote it, because that's the genius, because they understand that they can get away with it for that reason, but that's kind of them black undertones, and that's the kind of stuff that the director and the writer would understand, because they understand that if you can tap that black female audience, that's an audience that's going to come out.
In fact, it did push the Black Panther over.
I don't know though, because they kind of I guarantee you, all of the black women that they gained by doing that, they kind of lost them with that weave scene.
I don't know, man. I was in the theater.
I got it. The wig.
You a mad type, sir.
Yes.
You ain't shit, sir. You understand?
Thank you.
Juan, have you seen Cloak and Dagger? Have you seen Cloak and Dagger?
Cloak and Dagger.
Crap.
Oh, you need to check that out, man. It's not garbage.
Yeah, it's garbage. I gave it a fair shake. After the 5th episode, I was done. I said, I can't do this no more. This is an insult to my intelligence.
It's not garbage. Number one, it's not
okay, so
bad.
The last,
it is not that bad.
So the last season,
yeah, it is bad enough.
Oh my god,
you're overhyping.
No,
the
it's
last
bad.
season. The last season of Game of Thrones, I'm kind of like bittersweet about it. I'm kind of like, I'm happy because the writers, I don't know what the hell they were doing. Like, it was so upsetting. But I'm actually sad at the same time because, well, then again,
what part was upset?
It was a lot of money.
What part was
the way they handled the ending, like the ending of season 7, like the way they had Jon and Daenerys. And to be honest with you, Jon and Daenerys did not meet in the books like that. I don't think they're going to be meeting in the books like that at all. I think they're going to be meeting in the books at the last battle.
Well, they're not.
Yeah, they're not.
They're not gonna. Exactly. Yeah, they're not gonna go by the books exactly. But
too much material.
They've already fucked up because they fucked around and let my boy get that motherfucking dragon. So it's a wrap.
Oh, damn.
The nigga was moving slow at first. They was just walking. These niggas was walking, and then they had to get past that fucking wall. That nigga got that dragon and melted the wall. It's a wrap now. They gonna have to fight.
Real quick, let me just say why Cloak and Dagger is trash. I'll be real to the point. It is badly written all around. But let me tell you what really pissed me off. Tyrone's character, right now, mind you, they showing that he was kind of like was like a slight little delinquent because his older brother. He's 8 years old and knows how to use a Jimmy to get in cars and got his brother killed. And now you fast forward a couple of years in their teens, he's trying to be a good young boy. But then when you're watching it from episode 1 to 5, you're seeing that really, it's like, how can I put it? It's almost like he's that T-Dog trope type of deal, but then Tandy's character is a Mary Sue, even though she's going through a hard period in her life, but it's like she knows how to do everything perfectly. That shit pisses me off.
That's a mischaracterization. First of all, Tandy's character is a pickpocket. She had to learn to be a pickpocket because she's fucking homeless, so she can't steal, she don't eat. So, like, that she's not a Mary Sue. Like, you're throwing words on it. As far as Tyrone's character,
she's a Mary Sue.
No, she's not. She doesn't.
She can use some.
Because here's the thing. I explained this to BGS before you got on the call. She can get into certain social circles because, and even Tyrone told her this. Tyrone said, "You're a white woman, so it ain't that you know how to lie. People just believe your ass." He said why she's a damn show to her face.
She can already practically use her powers perfectly. Like within a short amount of time, she's got total mastery of the powers, and Tyrone is still stumbling around.
No, he's
teleporting where he don't want to be. Come on, you not seeing that?
No, you're like
I'm
if
taking
you
that out of
look, I would sound.
context. I took
Yeah,
that out
you
of
are.
context.
Yep.
See, you can't even say no. You know I'm telling the
Because
truth.
no, I'm not. Because first of all, and I don't even mean to tell the story, but in the first season, but first episode, she stabbed somebody by accident. She had to kill herself in order to almost activate her powers fully. Like you're what you're doing. Look, I would tell anybody check out the thing, form your own opinion. That's fine.
Okay, but she's
But
not a
you're putting a
Mary
lot
Sue
of
of her powers.
emotionalism
Come
on
on,
it.
man.
Yeah,
You
No,
just don't
she's
want
not
to
a.
admit to it. She's a
No, what
Mary
it is.
Sue.
well, they're pushing the interracial agenda. Basically, it's the same.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
almost a little bit better than Ray and what's his name in Star Wars.
well, yeah.
Yeah, because
With the
that shit
thing
was
about
god awful.
yeah,
The
now
what?
see that's a Mary Sue. That's yeah, like come on.
But Ray in Star
I'm
Wars
talking
is a
about the
lot more blatant,
relationship angle that they
obvious.
were trying to put in.
Tandy
One
in.
time.
I'm sorry.
Who's
I
first?
I was just gonna say with Ray in Star Wars is definitely way more blatant, but Tandy in Cloak and Dagger is still a Mary Sue. I'm sorry.
Okay, I mean we'll agree to disagree because I'm not gonna argue with somebody trying to convince them water is wet. So
All right, go ahead, Black Wizard.
Yeah, I was just talking about the relationship angle with Ray and what's his face, Finn, right?
Finn, or
Finn?
yeah,
Yeah.
on and off,
Yeah,
whatever
man.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, man. When he woke up, and me and my wife was in there watching it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he woke up for like, and when he woke up from the sleep or whatever, for
Mm-hmm.
like every scene up until like maybe 3/4 the way through the movie, he was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Where's Ray?" So
Mm-hmm.
like every time he said that, we were like, "Where the white women at?"
Yeah.
but even Captain, but here's and that's absolutely true. But even Captain Phasma's character, which is his storyline, which was like his opposite, they didn't know what to do with her either. So really, this is what it comes down to Star Wars. Kathleen, because what you got to look at with Kathleen Kennedy is
Mm-hmm.
when you alluded to this BGS. When you look at all of the reshoots, and I don't mean regular reshoots, I mean like complete clusterfucks.
Mm-hmm.
Kathleen Kennedy does not know how to pick directors. That's obvious because every time she picks somebody, either they're getting thrown off, or remember the dude that directed Fantastic Four was supposed to do a Boba Fett movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's who Kathleen Kennedy would have picked. So Kathleen Kennedy is very incompetent when it comes to that stuff. And then when it comes to stuff as far as narratives,
Mm-hmm.
even if you're going to have a female first narrative, but the thing that got on my nerves is even with like, for instance, let's say Princess Leia.
Mm-hmm.
She's never going to be Luke. But you didn't even give her some decent like in and out like Jedi powers. There were ways to put stuff in there. But another thing is it's the absolute blatant disrespect of the older characters.
Mm-hmm.
The way it's like on the one hand, you want to lean on them because you're too afraid to really be bold enough to go in a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, once you're done with them, you just want to get rid of them and throw them away. It's like either be bold or stick to what is there.
Well,
And she's
that's
got
what I'm
that
saying.
Hillary Clinton vibe.
Yeah, what I'm saying is with the last movie that they did when they had her in there, Leia in there, there was the ultimate Jedi power, a force bubble in space, and then to actually move the force bubble, that's awesome. That's mastery level
I want to see
Jedi
something
powers
like what I get that,
Out
but
of
even the way
nowhere.
out of nowhere.
that
Yeah.
came across,
From fucking
yeah,
deep.
but you got to remember too,
Mm-hmm.
it's the way the whole canon's going. I mean, like something that I think Leia would have caught on to would be something like battle meditation, which would have made sense in this context because when you had a weekend like rebellion, that
Mm-hmm.
she would have had the ability to kind of not take over, but really influence like those people that were killing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
She would have been able to like there's ways that you could have manifest different things that would have made sense because Leia is as powerful as Luke. She just isn't trained. So even within that context, that bubble when she's in a position where she's about to die, so it's straight instinct.
Mm-hmm.
I could kind of understand that. That just came off looking
It's not.
silly.
No, you can't do
Nah,
you
man,
can't do a force bubble. You can't do a force
that
bubble out of
bullshit.
instinct. That's
Yeah,
bullshit.
yeah, that's that
Yeah.
bullshit. Like if it was,
You have to
if it was
train. You have to
something
train
like,
for a whole lot of years to do a force bubble.
yeah. So
I mean, I'm not saying that that's what I would have did, but I'm saying I can see the logic behind that.
Well,
But
actually, if they had just followed Star Wars canon, they had 3 children, and one of them was actually a Jedi. Her daughter was actually a Jedi. If they had wanted a strong female character, there was a Jedi already. It would have been her daughter. Her daughter was was a was actually trained by Luke himself. They called
You
him.
talk about is it Hope Solo? I forget what
No, not Hope
Jalen
Solo.
Solo. I
No,
don't
no,
know.
yeah,
I,
yeah. Yes, it's Jay Janine or something like that. Solo, but
yeah, and it, yeah. I mean, now they theoretically they're gonna bring Kerry Russell into episode 9, so that'll be interesting what they do with her character. Because I mean, she can play a lot of action very well. If you've watched The Americans, which I haven't, but I've heard good things about the show.
they botched the canon so badly. You know, what can you really
Yeah.
do with it?
I was gonna say I ain't watching this shit. Like somebody's gonna have to tell me
Yeah.
like that it's good like far beforehand, and it's gonna have to be a lot of people before I go in there and I'll watch that.
I
shit.
still haven't watched episode 8 and refuse to. I'm still
Nah,
traumatized.
Well, yeah, well,
don't waste your time. Don't waste
I'm
your
still
time.
traumatized from
episode
It's
8
awful,
is on
man.
Netflix. If you got Netflix, episode 8 is there.
Don't
I
even
mean,
don't even watch it. It
Don't
sucks.
do it, man. It's a waste of your 2 hours.
It is.
I'm still traumatized from episode 7. I was pissed by the end of that movie.
If you were pissed by episode 7, you really don't want to watch episode 8.
I mean, I like what they did.
They started with
Rogue.
with a mama joke. They basically.
Yeah, I like what they did with Rogue. I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed Rogue One. I wish they would have had a little bit more Forrest Whitaker in there, but I did enjoy Rogue One. I enjoyed the droid, what they tried to do. I mean, the Solo movie is not as bad as what people will say. The problem with the Solo movie, first of all, let me say this: what is bad about the Solo movie is not the character, the dude that actually plays Han Solo. He actually does a much better job. Everybody tries to front load it onto him. When in reality, the droid sucked in Han. Oh my God, the droid sucked in the Solo movie. That was feminine. It wasn't even because of feminism, but she was this feminist bullshit. The woman that played Kira, and she actually played in the fucking Terminator movie, the last Terminator movie that came out. She probably would have made, if they wanted to replace Princess Leia and actually do a prequel about Leia or something, she would have been a good actress because she does look a lot like Leia if they wanted to go there. But yeah, Kathleen Kennedy needs to go because look, like I said, I don't mind seeing female characters, but you have to do it.
Well, why does she need to go? They've made
just do female characters and be like, fuck all the men. You just can't do that.
She needs to
Well,
follow
you
her
can do
sword.
whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. You're in charge. She's made $7 billion.
She's probably made more than that.
I heard you earlier. I was just shaking my head. Look, my cousin works for Industrial Lights and Magic, and he would have you up after the stuff you were saying. Kathleen Kennedy.
But what I'm saying is very. So hold on. Before you go off, what did I say?
Edward, let him finish.
Yeah, Kathleen Kennedy was not almost fired. There was a meeting at Disney. They were about to release The Incredibles 2. So they talked to all their animation department.
Mm-hmm.
They talked to Feige because they're ramping up Avengers 4. Mm-hmm. They were still checking on Ant-Man to make sure everything was okay there. And that was it. The only woman.
So
let him finish, Edward.
The only woman on YouTube that's pressing for Kathleen Kennedy to be fired is a white woman named Grace Randolph. So if that's what you're listening to, you shouldn't listen to her because she used to work for Marvel. Yeah, and Marvel fired her ass.
Well, basically,
that's not who I'm listening to.
Basically, most of the guys that I see on YouTube that love Star Wars want Kathleen Kennedy fired.
Yeah,
most of them.
No, not all the black guys want Kathleen Kennedy fired.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So what are you talking about? Black? Hold on. So now you've talked. Let me talk. First of all, you're talking to the guy that got cussed out by everybody when The Force Awakens came out because I actually said give Finn a chance. I said give Kathleen Kennedy a chance. BGS very much remembers that.
Yeah, I remember that.
All of them. They lit my ass up and they continue to do so. And I waited until this second movie. So this is not talking about somebody that doesn't like Kathleen Kennedy, has a personal issue with her. No. And I just said I don't have an issue seeing female characters. It's how you do it. I have said that Rogue One was my favorite movie. So let's establish that. Now moving forward, if that meeting was not a big deal, because I'm sure they have meetings like that all the time when they release movies, but they generally don't have interdivisional meetings like that because there's no point. So that wouldn't even make the news in general. And by the way, do I listen to Grace? Yes, but I also listen to, I think what the dude is, I forget John Campea. I listen to John Campea too, and John Campea can't stand Grace. So I listen to a lot of different people. I listen to Double Toasted, which is 2 black dudes. I listen to a long list of people when it comes to movies because I like movies. So so let's not try to make it like one person. Secondly, at the end of the day, when you're talking about $7 billion, a monkey could have been the head of Disney and made that kind of money. So stop giving her credit.
Yeah.
Star Wars made the money it made in the first movie because of the nostalgia, period. Now going forward, we're going to see what Kathleen Kennedy can actually do. Also, and BJ, let me add this last 30 seconds, please.
Go ahead.
When you actually look at things you can measure other than the box office, like things like the directors, every director on damn near every Star Wars movie since she's been the head, he's either gotten fired or gone in the scandal or reshoots where they've had to be replaced. Everything that you look at that she has direct fucking control over has not worked. Star Wars has worked in spite of her.
That's true.
Not because of her.
Yeah, I'd agree.
All right, real quick. Two directors have been fired.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, matter of fact, maybe I think the people doing Solo, it may have been 2 people directing that.
3.
So somebody can double check that. But Garth Edwards was not fired. Did they go back?
Garth Edwards.
So what happened to him? So what happened to him?
Garth Edwards, he finished shooting. They went back in like every movie and they reshot some of the scenes. They added some, took it out. So,
no, Garth Edwards. Hold on. It didn't get as bad for Garth Edwards to get fired, but Garth Edwards, somebody took control over that. It wasn't as bad as what happened with Ron Howard having to take complete control over Solo to the point where he got a credit on it. But Garth walked to that edge. Also, the dude who was supposed to do the Boba Fett movie, who was also the dude that ended up doing the fucking Fantastic Four, the Angry Man was referencing, got fired. And keep in mind, that was Kathleen Kennedy's pick. And then J.J. Abrams has been brought in. J.J. Abrams was brought in to save Episode 9 because the dude that did Episode 8, even keep in mind, he was supposed to do a trilogy. And they had to walk that back. No.
Let him talk.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I said
I'll say this. They're giving time. They're letting time pass before they announce that he ain't directing shit. But go ahead.
All right, first things first, Garth Edwards finished directing Rogue One. You can watch that on Netflix. Just don't watch it. Go to the very end and it says directed by Garth Edwards. Did they go back in and reshoot parts? Of course, the Darth Vader scene, that everybody references, is a great scene. Kathleen Kennedy actually had them put that scene in.
Because I can tell you, because I was looking at it and I was looking at the reviews on the very first trailers they put out for Rogue One. Okay, that shit bombed so bad they had to go back and they had to recut that.
You're being biased as hell.
You know they did.
You're being biased
they had to recut that film because that wasn't gonna sell. Especially after Force Awakens, they could not put out another pro-feminist movie again.
So she was forced. She was like you say this as if these are decisions she made.
No,
these are the decisions that she was. See, you talk about a meeting. I'm sure they had another meeting before that saying you better put something in there, to fix it. All these because Marvel isn't perfect. Marvel has not been perfect. Ant-Man had this, I'm not saying that, but the difference is the way the fandom, this Star Wars, regardless of race or whatever, the fandom has never been as split as it is now. And let's be clear here. Kathleen Kennedy, everybody's mad at Kat. This ain't white boys like what she's doing, but black people don't.
No,
everybody can't. Even the women.
Nah, man, white boys hate Kathleen Kennedy.
They hate Kathleen Kennedy.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody can't stand her ass, and keep this in mind. Even
George Lucas can't stand what she's done to it.
Exactly, Luke fucking Skywalker.
He was real vocal.
The whole time. And so what are you? So my thing is for you to take all of that and then say, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Come on.
Edward.
Next thing you're going to tell me is I can breathe underwater.
Edward,
you're going to try to convince me of that.
I wish, what's his name, could have put in the line in the movie, I'm in this movie so I don't get fined.
that would have been
most beautiful.
Also, another thing. Hold on,
hated it.
hold on. Let me answer with this. Another thing Disney has going on, you all referenced this earlier, came up in that meeting, was the acquisition of some of the Fox IP, which still hasn't gone through. That's pretty much what that meeting was about.
Aren't they on tap to buy Fox outright?
Well, they have to wait for the
movie division.
They're not going to buy. Yeah, they're not going to buy News Corp. What's going to happen is the Iger son, not Iger sons, but Rupert Murdoch's son, they will have stock in Disney, and a lot of that money that they're going to get for the windfall, they're going to take to buy Sky. But Fox Business, Fox Business, Fox Sports, Fox News will all be controlled still by Fox. I think Fox Sports, some of the stuff they will buy, they got to immediately sell. Like they have like 90 days to sell it, but Rupert Murdoch will still control the news part. What they're selling is 21st Century Fox, which is the entertainment division, which is the studio, which is the movies, Fox Searchlight, which by the way, Fox Searchlight is what bought Nat Turner, and then they're the channel, Fox Channel. It's not the news, but the Fox 50 channel they got.
The 11. We're talking about the regular channel.
The channel they have like the Americans and all of that on. Yeah, that's what they're taking control over, and they're gonna liquidate that studio and all of that.
Yeah.
But they're firing all those people. But yeah, and by the way, come on, and you try. Look, I get what you're saying. I have not been completely anti-Kathleen Kennedy because I've actually said there are little things you could have did.
I didn't say you're anti-anything. You're just about what's going on.
But what I'm saying is correct. Like what I
he can come shoot me. I mean,
you're fine.
Okay. Well, my point is you're being like
I didn't like what she was doing from the very beginning. Okay, I said fire her ass from the very beginning.
And BGS, was I not give her a chance? Was I not give her? And everybody cussed me out. So I had to go ahead.
And when she come, she was raw me when she said the force is female, right?
Oh my god!
T-shirts.
What was she thinking?
So I
mean, because Disney loves to push Disney princesses. That's what they. So they.
Well, that's true.
They split it. Now, come on, man. Let's keep it a buck. No. Hold on a second. Let's keep it a fucking buck, man.
Okay.
Buck. Okay. You look at the Disney Channel, especially cartoons. You see all the Star Wars cartoons. What are they? It's highly, highly feminist. That's what they sell. They sell Disney princesses. They wanted to make Star Wars to sell Disney princesses. It's about making money on the outside. So they took off. So they spent that $4 billion. They were gonna make money off the movies anyway. Like we said, you could be a monkey and make $7 billion off the Star Wars franchise.
I got a question.
They probably made more than that. I think $7 billion.
Watch this, BGS, because you're not even counting the video games. You're not counting none of that. I'm about to, because the video game has a woman in the front of it. Battlefront. Yep.
Battlefront.
I'm about to shut you down right now. Dude. Do you think the Transformers are good movies?
Do I think they're good movies? I thought the first one was okay, but they make money. They're going to keep making.
Yeah, what I'm saying is,
as a franchise.
No, that's not what he asked. Do you think they're good movies?
As a franchise.
I don't think they're that good, but
okay.
They make $1 billion every time they come out. So I think they're good.
Well, yeah, they were saying is like I said, Star Wars. Actually, the last Star Wars movie, The Last Jedi, sucked, but it still made money.
My bad.
Solo was the only one that probably didn't make enough money.
Here's the thing, though. Yeah. The movies, it took a long time. And let's be clear, Transformers would have tanked a long time ago, but thanks to China, they kept Transformers afloat for like probably 3 movies past what they did. Now Transformers is in a situation where the law of diminishing returns is going down, and you see it. So now they're taking a breather on the movies. Now they're coming out with a movie with Bumblebee, which that won't do well. But the point is, it gets to a point where you point that past, I won't say no return, but where it starts sliding. And episode 9, because here's the thing, all that Disney princess shit was only predicated on the fact that you could keep the current fans where they are. And the current fans who are male, and look, I don't care about injecting women into stuff that makes sense. One of my favorite characters in the Marvel cinema. No, I'm just saying that just to say it. Like, one of my favorite characters, I like to see her in a movie with Doctor Strange, is Scarlet Witch. But what Kathleen Kennedy has done is not good business. It's not. Some of the things and it's not even about what she said, because what she said is really a window into her mentality. She believes that this thing, she has a God-given right because she was under Lucas. That's what's crazy about it. She was under Lucas. So this isn't like she just got this shit. Lucas trusted her. That's why he sold. That's a big reason why he sold. And she pretty much spit in his face. When he tried to give suggestions, they boxed him out. And what happened was, because Bob Iger is the type of businessman he is, he lets his divisional heads run their divisions. He does this when it comes to the Disney properties other than the tentpole properties. He let Kevin Feige do it. This is why he separated the MCU from the TV universe, because that dude that owned Marvel was Kevin Feige, used to be under him. He likes to let his generals do their work. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Grace is just lying. Okay, you can say that. That's one white woman to another. It ain't like she has a personal bias, whatever, but it doesn't even matter, because the reality is we'll find out if episode 9, it doesn't have to, if it doesn't, anyway, let me say it this way. You saying that Star Wars makes money is like me saying I'm a millionaire. I'm just as smart as a millionaire that's self-made because I won the lottery.
No, don't put words in my mouth. I'm saying that she's not going anywhere. She this green lit. If they, all right, The Last Jedi, which made 1.4 billion, they just green lit Rian Johnson's trilogy. You can Google that and look that up. Okay, they just green lit that.
They green lit the Boba Fett movie. That doesn't mean anything. Like they haven't spent money on it yet. That doesn't mean nothing. DC green lit a lot of shit. Like
what trilogy got green lit?
Whatever.
She's talking about the.
Let me answer. Rian Johnson, the guy that did The Last Jedi, they just greenlit his trilogy. Now, what he's doing is what he's doing.
A
lot of this stuff, just because is who a lot of this, especially movies this big and a franchise this big, Disney has his fingers in the pie, saying what their agenda is. So some of it is because Kathleen Kennedy's been around Star Wars way too long to fuck it up this bad.
Yeah. So exactly. So that's another. Yeah.
A lot of the stuff is Disney pushing merchandise through it, and maybe they're going to learn a lesson about not trying to make it like the rest of like a Disney franchise.
And that's what it is. And because keep in mind, I'm a business person. Like when it comes to the agenda stuff, like I like what I like. You know what I'm saying? I don't what I don't. But I'm talking about just like what you talk about, the pure numbers. And at the end of the day, I think Kathleen Kennedy has been given deference because she's been able to lean on the numbers. Because the stuff that you're saying is the same thing that the few people that are loyal to Kathleen Kennedy will say. You're just saying this because she's a woman, which you haven't said.
No,
but that's
now you're putting words in my mouth, bro.
No, I just said.
Hey, calm down.
Go ahead.
I just said that you didn't say that, but that's what gets said. And then what they add in is all the money that's been made, understanding that it's more impressive what Kevin Feige did, because Kevin Feige took B characters and created something that led into that. And if you know what Kevin Feige's stuff was back when he did the X-Men, when that was launching back out, what he's been in the business, Kathleen Kennedy's more been along for the ride, and all she really had to do was mind the ship. And even with the feminist agenda, like I said that before you got on, it's a way to execute it. And she does not know how to fucking execute it. And like I said, the only reason they're not gonna really get rid of her, because here's the thing: if episode 9 does less than like 1.2 billion, she's in trouble. Like they just don't have a lot of people they can replace her with. That's really what it is. If it doesn't do 1.2 billion, now you've got a situation where movies are doing less.
It's probably in the contract. It's probably in the contract for Lucas actually selling the franchise that she's probably got to be in it. So
for a certain amount of time.
For a certain amount of time.
For them, man. I ain't watching that shit. I'm not doing it.
I think they're gonna kind of like pull her hands out a little bit where she doesn't have as much control. Even though she might not be doing it.
That's another thing they might do. Like they may give this is what they may do. What they may, and this is what was suggested, and this could happen. They may bring in a creative, and then what it is they make her more the business thing. Because that is one of the things that's the problem is it's hard. You can't just throw anybody into that. This ain't like Trump where you can just put dumbasses in there just to throw them in there. Bob Iger really wants good people to do it. And I don't think it's people that's at her level that really are raising their hand to really do it. That could be for whatever reason. But the point is, all I'm saying, dude, is what we disagree is you saying how much money she's made. That has nothing to do with her. That has everything to do with Star Wars. Like, that's like 20% her.
Like saying, that's like saying because I got the fastest horse that it's going to win every race. It still takes a matter of skill to ride that horse. So now, if you, we're just going to agree to disagree, because when somebody buys a property like Disney has, and Disney has made their money back over and over again, she is there what a lot of people have not accepted, and this is just in Star Wars period.
I mean, that was Bob Iger. That wasn't Kathleen Kennedy.
Let me finish. Episodes 7, 8, and 9 were set up to say goodbye to the three main characters. Harrison Ford wanted his character to die in 1980. Lucas talked him out of it. As far as George Lucas being a great director, can you answer a question for me, young man? What about that Tuskegee Airmen movie that came out that was dog shit? That was funded by Lucas. That was pushed by Lucas and everything.
So I got a great answer. I got a great
pushed by his wife because his wife insisted.
Well, that was true too, but Lucas still directed it, right? BGS.
But you don't hear me. But hold on. Why are you? See, now you're putting words in my mouth. I've never mentioned Lucas.
Black women helped kill that, and black women helped kill that one because they didn't get enough parts in it.
Well,
number one and number two.
I'm not saying.
And hold on, but I'll answer that.
One at a time.
I'll say it this way. First of all,
he didn't put that much money into it either, so it wasn't like he.
Also, and number two, you cannot even compare George Lucas to Kathleen Kennedy because George Lucas. This is the real value George Lucas is really giving. Number one, Kathleen Kennedy wouldn't have a career if it wasn't for George Lucas. That's number one. But the real value George Lucas is really giving to cinema is technology. Like when people throw him under the bus for the prequel episodes, the reason why he did a lot of what he did was number one, because he wanted to do it and he could, but number two is because he was trying to push the technology forward. A lot of what you have in the superhero industry. In fact, MCU couldn't do Kevin Feige couldn't do what he did if the X-Men couldn't do what they did if Lucas wouldn't have did what he did. So you have a whole museum that should have been in fucking Chicago that wasn't in Chicago off of what George Lucas has done. To make that comparison is almost like comparing like Obama to like a fucking state senator.
No, if Lucas is a good Kathleen Kennedy, from what I've seen, has not directed any Star Wars movie.
But we're talking about business. We're talking about business.
Hold on a second, Craig. Come on, man. Just keep it reaching. No. Keep it a fucking buck. Doesn't matter about the direct. Who's pushing the placement? What about the writing team? Come on, man.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm not look, BGS. I'm not denying what you're saying. I'm saying, look, this woman is not going nowhere.
She might not be, but she needs to.
And that's the funny thing.
Edward, can I talk for a second?
Sorry.
Have I let you talk?
Yes, you have. All right.
Have I let you and Craig talk without any interruption?
No, you good. You have. Yes, I'm muting the phone.
Now, come on, let's keep it a goddamn buck, man. Ain't no goddamn way Disney's gonna let what they paid $4 billion for and them not have a fucking hand in it. They are not gonna let it ride down like that because they're gonna make a moolah off this goddamn film. Product placement, commercials, books, cartoons, TV show, you name it. They're gonna make a ton off this, and trust and believe. If she fucks it up, she'll get kicked upstairs. She won't have anything to do with it because she does have her hands in it. And if she does it, she's a fool because she's gonna get fucking fired, and she should, because there's a way. Star Wars, even though they paid $4 billion for it, is worth $100 billion, and there's no way they're gonna. There's no way. Come on, man. If trust and believe, if you paid $4 billion, you were head of Disney, would you have a day-to-day hands on with that motherfucker?
Oh yeah, well I believe that. Yeah, I believe that
breathing down her fucking neck.
My point is that
they are breathing down her goddamn necks because
they may be. I'm not saying that they're not. I'm simply saying, look, the thing to do is
are they supposed to have like a Star Wars theme in Disneyland and a couple other places?
I think they're opening up 2 parks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
In other words, the franchise too goddamn big and she's screwing it up. So that's how come they're taking a hiatus. She's probably gonna get kicked upstairs there. She should.
But one more thing is, I did say
at the end of the day, she's not their girl. She's Lucas's girl, and she's fucking up.
And I did say that she probably won't get fired. I said that before you got on. I said that for a couple of different reasons, even outside of that meeting.
I said she should get fired.
Yeah,
so even outside of that meeting,
let her go.
Let her go.
Yeah, she should. No, I got a question. Do you think she should get fired? Let's cut to the chase. Do you think she should get fired?
What are you talking about?
Do you think she should?
Not yet.
Why?
Not yet.
Why shouldn't she?
I'll give her to episode 9. I'll say it.
That's a roll of the fucking guy.
Episode 9 comes in underneath the projected number. Then you may want to.
No, numbers had nothing to do with it. I'm talking about approval ratings. She had 2 movies. All of them, everything except Solo came in making money, right? Those are the only one that probably didn't make any money, right? Craig?
Yeah, I think so.
No, everything made money but Solo. Yeah, and the reason why Solo didn't make money is because the international. Because here's the thing: China has never been cool on Star Wars anyway. It doesn't matter if it's black people in it or not. So what happened was the international market couldn't save her. So it made.
What happened to your mic, Edward?
Oh, my bad. I'm back. It said it made it look really, really bad because the international market can't save her. So, this is the first Star Wars movie ever made that looked money. I mean, you got to really, and like I said, my problem is the longer she's like a scab. You really need to rip that off. Yeah. And to say the money, like, when you look at the level that she's on, like I said, that $7 billion shit don't mean shit.
How do you lose money on a Star Wars movie?
The production costs because they went in and reshot. I think because Ron Howard ended up getting directing.
No, that's not what I'm saying. How do you lose money on a fucking Star Wars movie?
They went way over their budget. Yeah.
No. In other words,
you get a bad fucking script. You get a bad script. You get a bad movie and a bad fucking idea. That's how you lose money. And you be disingenuous to your loyal fucking following.
Because Star Wars pretty much became social justice warrior sci-fi.
You turned Star Wars into the most feminist bullshit shit that it ever was. Let's tell the truth about it, my friends. It was a bunch of bullshit that, guess what? You didn't follow the story. It wasn't faithful to the content, and you lost your faithful few who followed it.
It wouldn't even be that bad if she didn't do that, and then
it wouldn't be that bad. It was horrible.
No, I'm saying
it's like getting an open heart surgery without having a replacement heart.
Solo was dead on arrival because of the Last Jedi.
I haven't even seen it. And I won't see it.
Because when people say SJW, that can be so broad and stuff. I like to get more specific than that.
No, I said it. SJW. That's what that
because
Star Wars was.
If they would just put nothing but white men in there, that don't mean necessarily it would have been good. I mean, let's be honest about that. So,
I'm not saying it was white men. It was a social justice warrior agenda in episode 7.
It started there. So, and basically, Rogue One kind of pulled the fat out of the fan. Well, maybe Last Jedi won't be so bad. So people came out and see Last Jedi and they say, okay.
You know what, BG?
We've had enough.
Right. That's exactly right. Because that's exactly how I went into the last one. I was like, I saw Rogue One. I was like, all right, well, the next one might not be as bad as the Last Jedi or whatever. I went into the last one. I was like, man, fuck this. I ain't doing this no more. They can't pay me to be here.
I heard it from a lot of people, and that's what happened. And basically, if it were me, and I was Eichner, and basically a Star Wars movie didn't make any money, she came up to my office. I'd have said, come over here for a second. I slapped the shit out of her. How could you fuck this up?
with some baby powder in your hand, man. What the fuck you doing?
See, the only silver
How can you
lining in
fuck
this
this?
horrendous situation is that episodes 1 to 3 have been retroactively vindicated. If you ignore Jar Jar Binks, you see the genius for what those films was.
I mean, come on, man. Get them. See, that's what I'm talking about. All this
I mean,
emotion.
Lucas rolled out a bad movie in the it was like what is it? What's 5? No, actually 4.
Okay, let's be.
It was depending on how you count them. I think it was 1 episode 1. It was bad, but the thing is that Star Wars it still made money. So how you can make a bad Star Wars movie and still make money? How could you take a Star Wars movie with someone with Star Wars on it, which is like a printing press, and not make money? How could you
see?
Yeah.
And from the Phantom, and check this real quick. From the Phantom Menace to the Clone Wars, they made a major tweak because people was pissed at Jar Jar Binks, so they got the message. Said, okay, we're gonna tone that character down. He's gonna be in the movie. They listened to the fans, and from the Phantom Menace to the Clone Wars, it was a massive improvement.
Yeah.
Well, what are you talking? But what are you talking about from the Phantom Menace? Jar Jar Binks was in every movie. Okay, let me say
this. They toned his character down, though. They toned his character down.
They toned his character down. Okay, he wasn't all spastic.
Hold on,
he wasn't Phantom Menace.
I was just, and I understand the movies for why they were made and what George Lucas was trying to do with the technology and stuff. And Phantom Menace, look, Phantom Menace is, let me start by saying something positive. The main things that the prequel trilogy had that none of the other trilogies have is the lightsaber fights. The lightsaber fights are superior to any of the other movies. And this new trilogy, that's another big thing too about the new trilogy, gets on my fucking nerves. I liked Rogue One, but how the fuck Rogue One got the best lightsaber sequence in that of the other that's another thing that goes back again to Kathleen Kennedy's incompetence, by the way. The musical scores in the original not the original trilogy, but the prequel trilogy was really good. But the problem with the prequel trilogy overall was too much CGI. And another thing is, what they learned today that they didn't do back then is they could have put a lot of that political stuff in the books. And that's one thing they've gotten kind of smart with today. They almost did it too much today versus they put too much of the politics in a movie that's not really built for a time frame to really do the politics to get really invested in it. So they didn't learn that back then. But let's not pretend like, the original, the prequel trilogy is vindicated. The prequel trilogy is almost...
I want to interject.
Go ahead, jump in, Charles.
But that's your opinion.
Okay.
So...
Okay, now let's just talk about The Last Jedi. Most people don't understand that the director, Rian Johnson, was pretty much given free reign to do whatever he wanted to do. So he didn't care about what Star Wars fans wanted. He didn't care about the past. He had a little bit of understanding, but he created his own thoughts.
Gave him reign.
Go ahead. So the problem was when you let somebody do what they want to do and you don't cater to the fans, you're going to lose the fan connection. So once I saw The Last Jedi and I saw how horrible they did it and how they made every single man in the movie. Most people don't pay attention to it, but every single man, there's not one strong male character in all The Last Jedi. And you know what? Just like Rogue One, I don't care if people like Rogue One or not, but that Darth Vader scene, the last Darth Vader scene made everybody applaud, made everybody happy at the end of the movie. Like, okay,
I'm out of the movie
with this. Exactly. So now I'm gonna go see The Last Jedi. You go see The Last Jedi. Even though it had a lightsaber scene, it was still a little bit off. But you made every male character look weak. It was just a wagon train in space. It had no real plot. It was too many subplots going left and right. I was so distraught. I was so pissed off. It was no way on this earth you could make me see Solo unless everybody on the planet Earth said it was good. Nobody ever, not one person told me, Charles, you got to go see Solo, so I'm not going to see it. Now, exactly. I agree with everything that you guys said. When you go to the prequel, yeah, it's a lot of CGI, but other than Jar Jar Binks, they didn't suck. It was just Jar Jar Binks didn't need to be there, but it showed you the awesomeness of the Jedi. Of course, George Lucas went a little bit too long with it with the dialogue. He was doing the Edward, but other than that, it was still a good story. It was still good. You know what he's trying to say.
It was still in the Star Wars pocket. In other words, it didn't go too far out. Basically, I didn't recognize The Last Jedi as a Star Wars movie.
There you go.
It was nothing made sense. It's like everything was supposed to be funny.
Ooh, I'm not watching.
And it wasn't even the right kind of funny. It was just like it's like some kind of like your aunt at a barbecue kind of like just telling some like wacky ass bullshit jokes. You're like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
And another thing too, just to defend, and I just want to say this because just to defend Grace Randolph, if you listen to I challenge anybody on this panel to listen to anything she's got to say as far as Star Wars, and a lot of that shit is spot on because she is a woman that actually wants to see more women, but she wants to see it in a way that men are not going to actually repel against it because she understands that you can't just co-opt it. In fact, Grace Randolph has stated, and I believe it's true, that she said, I can't stand it, I'm saying this, but a woman ruined Star Wars. Yeah. She doesn't have a personal... She wants another woman to be an executive. And she also brought up, by the way, the woman that was over Sony, which is what BGS references when he says they may just move her somewhere else, is that woman that was over Sony when that email gate happened and she really didn't get fired. She got transferred. And when you look at how the Amazing Spider-Man turned out, where they greenlit a whole bunch of movies. And by the way, that woman is also responsible for this Venom movie, by the way. You know,
sweet Jesus, I ain't watching that shit.
So, is it fair to say that
this is a woman in that control?
Finish that, and then Emmanuel.
Is Grace Randolph in the coal mine for a lot of this stuff because she wants that stuff there. So, but she will acknowledge issues. And the last thing I'm going to say too is, if you want a good moniker for putting men in a woman-heavy movie, Wonder Woman showed you how to do that with how Chris Pine was portrayed in that movie. Now compare that to Last Jedi.
Go ahead, Emmanuel.
I was just going to say real quick. So, is it fair to say that I have not seen episode 8? I won't see, but getting back to 7, is it fair to say that it's pretty much feminist lit sci-fi?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, man.
I'll tell you this, man. Episode 8. It was so
bad. Just guessing that? Are you just guessing that?
No, well, he hasn't seen the movie, but he's guessing it. What I'm saying is, if you watch the Disney Channel and the cartoons, it kind of reminded me of that. Very feminist heavy, girl power, and the plots don't make sense.
Okay.
Right,
like, it's like a bunch of people sat down in a room and was like, hey, let's write some good ideas. And then they just made that a story. Like, they didn't care where the story was going. They didn't have any goal in mind. They were just like, fuck it. That's cool. Why don't we do that too? Like,
let's be honest.
I got more to say real fast. Let me get it out. So this is what people don't notice. Most men, we don't mind seeing strong women. We don't mind seeing Sigourney Weaver kick ass in Aliens. We didn't mind seeing Wonder Woman. We didn't listen. You keep on going. I'm about to just even the last Mad Max movie was based on women being strong, but it didn't make the man look weak. What made The Last Jedi so pathetic and horrible? First, you never got in all Star Wars. You figure after 20 years, Luke Skywalker should be on the same level as Anakin was or Darth Vader in Rogue One. We never got to see one real Luke Skywalker kick ass. Like if you would have just let
that's true.
Kick ass, I would not have been. I could have took it. But you even made the greatest.
In fact, you have a Grand Master Jedi that whose pupil is stronger than he is.
Impossible.
What is this bullshit?
Yes.
Maybe he's a Jedi in the streets and a Sith in the streets and the sheets.
Like somebody else I know.
No,
who would that be?
The way
the guy
let the record show, as Charles mentioned, and Ryan Johnson had free reign to do what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Charles, he had free reign to do what he wants because Kathleen Kennedy gave him that free reign. Because Kathleen Kennedy is like, she's the type of person where she's like an executive in the worst way. She reminds me of that fucking executive, Jurassic World, the first one that just came out, like not this one, but the movie before this one. That woman is actually based on a real person in real life that they were actually making a character of. She reminds me of that shit.
If you think Ryan Johnson had free reign to do anything he wanted in this movie, in a Star Wars franchise, I have swampland in Florida that I will sell you. That is utter. That is utter.
I got an argument, BGS.
No,
you're right. But I got an argument.
No. What I'm saying is, it's just like if you want to get rid of somebody, who do you put the blame on?
Well, when you say free,
if it was a success, everybody gets the credit.
Yes.
If it flops, guess who's going to get the blame?
I agree.
Okay, now what you got? What's your rebuttal?
It's called the director.
Can I go?
It's like the coach getting fired.
Okay.
On a Jerry Johnson Dallas Cowboy team.
This
Go
is
ahead.
my statement, and I would love to hear your rebuttal. So
Okay.
let's say they had a plot outline from day one with 3 movies, right? Mm-hmm. So if J.J. Abrams set up a script, or set up a outline of how it should be, then it makes no sense for the movie that Rian Johnson made. I'm not saying he was an executive. Yes, we're gonna do it. I think he had a plan, but was because whatever J.J. Abrams was gonna do, they threw out the window. Kathleen Kennedy said, "Okay, I like this," and let it fly. But I believe she still let him keep him within the structure. Like maybe they were gonna kill all characters, but they gave him a chance to do that. Maybe they didn't know exactly who Ray's parents were going to be, and they changed that up. Maybe they said, okay, as long as the movie gets from A to B, we don't care how you tell the story. That's what I'm saying. That's why I say here.
If you believe, because what they spend on the Last Jedi, what $400-500 million?
But even J.J. Abrams said that's not what he had it. I get what you're saying, BGS. I just need you to define that, because I don't think. Here's the thing. You got Bob Iger, and then you got under Bob Iger, because Bob Iger is CEO when you come to parks and all that shit. Then you got somebody up below him that's like the main dude for all the movies, no matter what division. And then you have the individual divisional heads, Spidey for Marvel, Kathleen Kennedy for Star Wars, whatever. The question is, if you're asking that Bob Iger knew the general direction of the feminist direction, yes, for toys and all that, I agree. But did he absolutely see the stills and where stuff was going?
Hell yes. I know yes. You know he did. There's too much. Nah, brother. You don't have $500 million riding on a film, and you don't take day-to-day operations, because trust and believe, hold on a second. Okay, you have stockholders. You do not spend $500 million. You do not know what's going on. You have anytime you lay out that kind of. Now, if you lay out like say Black Panther, okay. Free reign, because they didn't think it was going to do anything, right? That's free reign.
Exactly. Yeah.
So even say even a small movie like Black Panther, right? Okay, Edward DuVernay came with an idea. Hell no, you're not putting this shit out.
But that was fight.
That's true. But I'm saying is, there's no fucking way that if I'm sitting in the seat, if I'm the CEO and I have to come in front of shareholders, that I'm going to put out a Star Wars franchise that I'm spending $500 million to actually make this goddamn film, that I'm not seeing shit coming to me every day. I might not be on the sets, but I'm getting stills, I'm getting rewrites, I'm getting everything. I'm gonna look over that shit.
I agree with Charles.
Because there's too many. Okay, look at this.
Disney. Fuck up.
No, one second. Disney.
Yes.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
There's too much shit riding on this, because you have theme parks that are riding on this shit. You got toys and merchandises that are riding on this shit. You got commercials that are riding on this shit. You got spin-offs that are riding on. There's a whole lot of things that are riding on this shit. It's not just Star Wars, the movie by itself. It's also part the whole package. You're gonna keep an eye on that baby.
I get all of that, but you can argue that with Pixar. You can argue that with a lot of stuff as far as their parks. I get what you're saying, but at the end of the day, you wouldn't have had, because what you're kind of saying is all because Star Wars has had a lot of fuck ups during this reign, and if he's really watching it like that, then it would make better sense that she's more replaceable. Because if you're gonna watch it with her, then you'll watch it with anybody. You know, because if you're going to have that kind of hands-on, I don't agree that Bob Iger is that hands-on. I'm not saying he don't know what's going on, but the fact that, because you wouldn't have had that many fuck-ups with directors.
Yes, I got a question.
Doesn't the movie look like it had too many hands and too many fingers in the pie?
Does it look like it?
Because
No.
it's all over the place. The script is all over the place.
BGS, I got one question.
Yes, sir.
How did the movie get made?
How did the movie get made?
Yes, sir.
Because you had to make a Star Wars movie that you promised. Okay, it has to get made. You can't delay it.
Because another thing too is when you look at people like J.J. Abrams was not supposed to direct the 9th one. It was supposed to be Rian Johnson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so okay, so right, hold on. I just want to say that to Craig. That right there is how you know that damn movie ain't getting green lit, by the way. Because if that movie was really getting green lit, then why wouldn't you already keep him on the 9th?
You need to show me proof. You need to show me proof that Rian Johnson was supposed to do 8 and 9. There have been no
That's what I heard. That's what I heard. Yeah.
Okay, there have been no director.
Articles. It wasn't supposed to be. I know. I'll say this. I know this for an undeniable fact. It wasn't supposed to be.
Show me the
All right. We can't crosstalk, okay?
Well, I'm just saying it wasn't supposed to be JJ. And then I remember because I watch a lot of Star Wars news and shit, and Rian Johnson was supposed to direct the next 2. It was either it wasn't Garth Edwards. It was supposed to be Ryan. It might have been Garth. It wasn't. I'm not sure if 100%.
Okay, this is how it works. This is how it works in the corporate. This is how it works in the corporate world, right? Okay, they can't. Okay, look, we know what Kathleen did. She fucked it up, and she screwed the pooch on this one. Too many hands in the cookie jar. Because a lot of times you don't have 100% control over the script, especially in a big ass movie like that. You need to fall on your goddamn sword. And for you to shut your fucking mouth, this is what we're gonna do for you. We're gonna greenlit something else. We know you're a good director. We're gonna actually have you in something else. We're gonna give you something to keep your fucking mouth shut. That's the way it works. So if he's greenlit to do something on some more projects, it's a payoff for him to keep his mouth shut.
Understood. So I have a question, BGS.
Just like what goes on with the Lakers has nothing. LeBron James coming here has nothing to do with winning championships. They offer them deals as far as marketing and production. That's why he's here.
BGS.
Yes, sir.
Who should the primary fault fall on with the whole Star Wars debacle?
Well, at the end of the day, it's Kathleen Kennedy's baby. That's what she's there for.
I mean, she's the one that makes the decisions.
Because if a director is fucking up and he's not going the right direction, what's he supposed to do?
Get
rid of him.
I got a question for you, BGS. I got a question because this will get to the heart of the matter. Do you believe that Kathleen Kennedy has the final say on these directors that are getting chosen after J.J. Abrams?
I don't think J.J. Abrams probably wasn't her choice. I think that was something made afterwards. In other words, if she picks a director, they bring him in and they got everything rolling along for you have to change shit. That means somebody over your head said you need to change this.
No, that's what I'm saying because JJ, I feel like JJ was more of a Bob Iger choice, and then Kathleen Kennedy. I'm talking about after episode 7. These other directors for these anthologies and what the other movies. Do you think she's been the one to actually choose the directors, or you think she's been given these directors and have to deal with them? Because
go ahead.
I personally think that she's given the latitude to pick these directors. Yeah, Bob Iger might approve them, but it's kind of like, okay, I want to look it over, but I'm not going to tell you who to pick.
Well, because she is supposed to know Star Wars inside and out.
Yeah.
That's why she's there, because she's been there for the longest. She's supposed to know how to keep the train rolling, keep the train moving. Okay, she ain't supposed to be screwing up because you've done this your whole life. How could you fuck this up? And trust and believe, The Last Jedi was a fuck up. You might say that it made money. It should make money just by having the Star Wars name on it. Should make money. All those toys should fly off the shelves because of Star Wars brand, because it's been around for damn near 50 years.
You can't judge Star Wars like you would judge. You almost like you can judge Marvel now, but you can't judge Star Wars like you could judge other franchises, especially at its current momentum. So when people talk about like like for instance, you take a company like McDonald's, at that point, you're judging McDonald's on are they gaining market share or losing market share globally or in the United States. You're not judging them on if they're making money or losing money. you just can't judge because it's gonna make money. It takes so many nuclear bombs for that to lose that momentum. So I get what's being said with that, but my thing is the Star Wars head job is pretty much a political one. This is why when they were talking about like what fans are gonna react when it comes to a lot of those conventions that they're gonna have, like Star Wars is a very active fan base. They do, and keep in mind, I keep saying this, like people like. It's not the women thing per se, because people put up with Battlefront. People put up with a lot of the women stuff to a certain extent. But it's the blatancy. It's the women at the expense of shit. That's what's really triggering a lot of this.
Star Wars is akin to Apple stock.
Yes.
Okay?
I agree.
You really have to fuck up Apple stock.
But the problem with
to fuck up Apple and not make money. It's like having an iPhone and have it not make money.
Like you need an award.
One time.
Well, let me say
go ahead, Charles, and then Black Wizard.
The problem is Star Wars is the movie is the franchise. For anything else, you got to get the movies right.
That's right.
That's when you should be choosing an awesome director that people will really want to see a movie for. Like I know there's more politics in it than I know, but you got the Christopher Nolans out there. You got the Quentin Tarantinos.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you had such a fucked up script, even the best director can't do anything with it. I don't think the director is okay in the scripts.
So,
go finish, Charles.
I agree. We're on the same page. See, that's where I get confused. How much control does the director have over?
He didn't. I don't think he has a whole lot. I really don't.
Okay, so
Edward, let me finish, Edward, because you can go for a long time.
Actually, not next. Edward, Black Wizard is actually after Charles.
This is my question for everybody, whoever wants to speak. You can it's like Apple stock. They made that horrible little cube iMac some years, like in the late '90s, the little blue ones. You remember what I'm talking about, BGS?
Yeah.
It takes a horrible product to destroy stock, and Apple went down for a little bit because of those products they put out in the late '90s. So my question is Star Wars on the verge of becoming like Apple was in the late '90s?
I hope not, man, because I actually like the Star Wars franchise. But anyway, Black Wizard, go ahead. You're next.
Yeah. I was just gonna say. I mean, I guess just following up with what Charles said, I think it is. I mean, at this rate, the way Kathleen Kennedy has been handling her business and everything, I see it. Like I know for me, like it took a lot for me to like come to the point where I'm like, I'm not gonna watch a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
And like if I'm there, like I know there's a lot of people who are dedicated to this franchise, like really either teetering or not not going to see the next one.
It actually, man, because I remember I was a teenager when I first saw the first Star Wars movie back in 1977. I've watched every one since. Basically. The only one I haven't seen is Solo because the Last Jedi was so bad.
Exactly, and I'm in the exact same boat. I was like, after the Last Jedi, I was like, I'm not watching Solo unless like God could descend from the heavens and says, "Hey, you better go see that boy." I'm like, all right, bro.
Go ahead.
I left a link in your description on who was supposed to direct Episode 9.
Okay.
So everybody go look at that.
Now, I'm going to share the screen. They can actually look for themselves.
So one thing I wanted to throw out there too is Star Wars should be doing Black Panther numbers as far as domestically. Black Panther is only like 100,000 away from 700 million. That's how powerful Star Wars really should be. That's the first thing. The second thing on the directors is TV writers control the directors as you bring multiple directors in for different episodes. In movies, it's different. Directors are like coaches and writers are more like assistants. It's kind of not the same dynamic, but kind of like that. The writer, because you can bring in multiple writers to do treatments and whatever, but Kathleen Kennedy at the end of the day are choosing writers and directors. So she's choosing all of it. So even if you just say that the writing is bad, which is just as true, because that's just going overall with. In fact, actually, I think wrote the episode 8 as well. Rian Johnson wrote and directed it. So it was, so in his case, he did both. And I think J.J. Abrams had a hand in writing episode 7, but I think he co-wrote it. So for the most part, these directors this is their vision. Like it's not. In fact, I'll bring up Box Office Mojo just to check it out. But this is their vision. This is not. Oh well, it's just too many people had hands in a pot. Yeah, you had the suits having their input, but if you actually listen to a lot of what these guys say leading up to the movie coming out, they all are pretty much on board with like how people are reviewing the movie and stuff like that. As far as the pre-reviews, Rogue One was the only one that really had an issue, and they had to change that up completely because people were saying that shit was way too feminist. When people that were watching it, you know, to judge it before, you know, while they were developing it came out. So this is actually news to a lot of people. When Rogue One, I mean not Rogue One, but when Episode 8 wasn't well received. This is why they sounded so tone deaf when they were responding to it. Rian Johnson was responding to it like the problem is the fans, and Kathleen Kennedy was saying what she said because they didn't really understand how bad it was. Now, going back into Solo, nobody wanted Solo. That's the thing about it. What people wanted was an Obi-Wan movie, either an Obi-Wan movie, a Boba Fett movie, or something like that. They did not want a Solo movie, and they just put it out there for reasons I don't know. And the last thing I'm gonna say,
it's probably part of their timeline. They probably had a timeline from the very beginning, which movies they're actually going to put out and what they're actually going to green light and produce. It's probably a timeline. And I think the Solo movie probably, I haven't seen it, but it probably was not that bad. I think it had bad press from a bad reaction from
the actors. Okay, the thing that's the worst part about the Solo is the droid. They got a female droid, which long story short, you know, do y'all care about spoilers on this? Because it sounds like y'all ain't gonna see it.
We're not gonna see it no way, so go ahead.
Okay, so basically the operating system within the Millennium Falcon, what happens is the droid dies, and this is a droid this is Lando's droid, and they have this scene in there where they act like that Lando likes the droid, but that's the droid saying that shit. But anyway, the droid fucking dies, and they put the operating system of the droid in the Falcon. So whenever people always complain about the Falcon is like doing what it wants to do in certain things, like Han and stuff, that's really, they tried to retroactive that with canon by saying that's what that droid was, because that droid had like data maps, or like one of the best like maps of the galaxy, and that's why he didn't want to let it go. So that's the first thing. Second,
it's another thing that actually pissing the fans off. You rewriting all the canon.
Yeah, Lando, thank God, was not pansexual, but you can tell they muted Lando. They really didn't allow that.
Don't fuck with canon.
Yeah, I mean, why did they put Lando in there anyway?
Because they wanted to say this is how Solo, because Solo got the Falcon from Lando, so this is how they introduced that into the character. But they didn't want Donald Glover to overshadow that character. I will say this: the main thing that's been in the reports is that the movie is bad because the dude that plays Solo is bad. That's not true. Now, does he play Solo like Harrison Ford? Of course not. But is it as bad as what they said? It's not even close.
You're borged out. Borged out.
Can you still hear me?
You're still borging. All right, who else is up? Go ahead, June.
I just wonder, why do you think Star Wars is such a long-enduring franchise? I mean, because compared to all the other sci-fi movie, you know, you have all these other sci-fi movie. How come? Do you think it's because the cultural element? Or
no, because it does a very good job of telling the hero's tale, the hero's journey.
I was just about to say that modern mythology. It's modern mythology, but it's modern mythology based on ancient archetypes.
Yeah, ancient archetypes. Yeah. So the ancient archetypes have been around for thousands of years, and that goes directly to the subconscious of people. So, and basically, it's a retelling of all kinds of stories. So it fits right in, and plus, it was time for it. Plus, it was luck. So a lot of things kind of, timing has a lot to do. Once you get the ball rolling, people want to keep seeing it.
Yeah, because
go ahead, June. Go ahead, June.
So I was about to say another thing is because if we're just looking at strictly from a scientific aspect of it, a lot of them are a lot of those contents are actually I won't say anti-science, but actually contradictory to the science.
It's fantasy science.
It's myth.
Complete fantasy, right?
It's myth. Okay. It's myth.
So even though it's a sci-fi character, but it's not actually a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, but it's actually more of fantasy than it is.
Oh, okay.
Now, Star Trek. I'm not trying to do the Star Trek is better than Star Wars. I'm just saying this for comparison. In terms of science,
yes, Star Trek is actually closer to science.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Star Wars.
Star Trek science is definitely much because there's been things in Star Wars from the '60s that we have today.
Yeah,
you know,
the tricorder and even the transporter. They talk about the Chinese are actually experimenting with trying to do it. There's a lot of tech. He's actually right. A lot of tech that we actually was introduced as an idea in Star Trek actually has come onto the market already.
A good
One time.
two good TV shows to check out. One is The Expanse. If you want hardcore science fiction, The Expanse is really good because it takes place like 150 years into the future. It's basically like three factions. You got Earth with like 10 billion people. They're kind of like Britain in a way. And then you got Mars, which is kind of like colonial America, but the Martians are, which are humans that are colonizing, they're terraforming Mars, but they're in that process. So they're like 100 years away from Mars being completely terraformed. So they got a strong military. And then you've got the Belters in the middle. They've done 3 seasons now. And then it's going from Sci-fi. Amazon's actually going to pick it up. It's based on books. It's really good. And then going back to Star Trek, you've got Star Trek Discovery on CBS, which I really like because they put $80 million into it. It is a lot darker than what you get with normal Star Wars. It's a black woman.
We agree on that because I do love Star Trek Discovery, even though I know a lot of hardcore fans hate it.
I've read all the Expanse books. They're fantastic. I can't wait for the show to catch up to the books. Also, I agree with both of you about Star Trek Discovery. I came into the movie. I came into it thinking I was going to hate it, and I thought it was going to be super feministic slant, but it wasn't, and I didn't hate it, so I can't diss it.
Yeah, it's okay. You know,
and they had a lot of
normally just about every Star Trek series starts off slow, so and it gets better. Hopefully it'll follow the same curve.
And they have female. That's the thing. They have like 3 core female characters, and it's centered around a woman. By the way, this sister is married to a black man and has her black man all over Instagram. So she's one of us.
It's not the first time Janeway was a Star Trek captain. So
Janeway was a good captain. I like Janeway.
And then Jerry Ryan, which by the way, fun fact. Jerry Ryan's husband is actually the guy that, or not husband, but fiance, actually ran against Obama in the Senate for the United States Senate for Illinois, and he got on a scandal with Jerry Ryan, and and ended up.
Husband. They busted up.
They was their husband. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Husband, okay, but yes, and Jerry Ryan was an assertive. The thing I liked about Jerry Ryan was she was assertive. There's a difference between being assertive and aggressive. If you understand that, then you understand how to write women in a way that men. Let me tell you, I hate to say this, go here, but you know a movie where Warner Brothers fucked up that they could have made good? That Ocean's 8 movie. I pissed somebody off because I told them, ain't nobody trying to see no middle-aged white bitches in no damn trying to look sexy. Why?
Basically, Ocean's 8 is basically the female Ghostbusters movie.
It really, and I'm like, but here's the thing: you could have made Ocean's 8 good to where dudes would have wanted to see it. Now, all you had to do is, rather than having the women.
Okay, well, I guess he lost his connection. All right,
he'll be back.
Yeah, he's gonna be back. That's true. Who's next? Well, oh, there you go.
No, I was just gonna say, you do the matriarchal arc, Devil Wears Prada arc, where you get a Judi Dench or a Mirren, and then you get Anne Hathaway, which they get, and then you get somebody like Chris Hemsworth is muscle for the women to see, and then all you got to do is get Margot Robbie. You get Brad Pitt in there. You do a joke to where like Judi Dench got Danny Ocean in jail, ironically for something he didn't do. And then Rusty had to take the reins as more of a Charlie of Charlie's Angels. You get, and that brings in Catherine Zeta-Jones, because very beautiful, get her at a good price. And then you get Margot Robbie, and then you pick whatever race and ethnicity based on country. You got a sexy movie women want to see and dudes be cool with seeing too. That's all you got to do. But that's how you know it's a narrative that they're trying to push. They're
because they
really trying to have
because
this female.
they want to make these chicks likable. They all have to be cute and likable and funny and somebody you want to have tea with. Why don't they just make them all dark characters? They're all crooks and criminals. Make them all crooks and criminals.
It's just the thing is, women don't really value something unless men, especially in the United States context, unless men already value it. Women are not trying to build their own shit. They wanna be involved with what men already established. So if men didn't already establish and throw that dust on it, they're not trying to have it. And that's what I feel like the movie industry is not getting yet. Like, and if you understand that and you understand how to integrate these women, one of the best female characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I rarely hear dudes talk shit about Elizabeth Olsen's character, Scarlet Witch. And she's a powerful character. But the way they have her character and the way they've developed it is in a way that it's not like in spite of dudes. You know, even Black Widow's character dudes don't
you know what? I wish they would do something like Marvel did with the Black Mariah character, where they just who knows, all of them chicks were just chicks. Okay, they didn't sugarcoat it. They wasn't trying to be nice. They wasn't easy. There were no cupcakes. You know, they were just, oh, this is how you handle shit. You know, some of the fight scenes were kind of overblown, but as far as the characters concerned, they were real people. They wasn't trying to be cutesy or liked or anything like that. And let them just. I would like to have 8 characters just like that and have them be real. We hardcore hardened criminals. We call each other bitches and whatnot, and let that go instead of this. Oh, I just happen to be a crook.
BGS, get up and take this ass whooping.
Yeah.
I tell you, they were light skinned chicks under the bus.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Let me say because with me, I look at these stories, especially with the franchises I really like Star Wars or whatever. I really don't care about the feminist angle. What I care about is when they sacrifice good story for the feminist angle. So when they're doing shit like the chick with the purple hair leading the thing, the whole driving plot line of that was like, men, we don't need to make useless sacrifices. We're here to build a rebellion. Then at the end of the movie, she turns around and makes a sacrifice. It's like, what are you doing? Like that goes against the whole driving hour and 45 minutes that you've been telling us that you didn't need to do that. Like, why would you do that? I don't get it.
Man, I haven't seen a chase that slow since O.J. Simpson on the freeway in a white Bronco.
Oh, I'm gonna make y'all laugh right now. You know what? And I'm really addicted to this show. I hope it gets a season 4. You know what? Some of the best female written characters are is actually a British TV show called Humans.
Oh yeah. I've heard, yeah.
And they actually, and the funny thing is, they're androids, but yet they write them better than a lot of these other programs and movies we're talking about. Because
humans is dark. That's supposed to be dark.
But yeah, not black. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. So that's how come it's just like Westworld is a dark series. So the women are not cute and cutesy and overly feminine or motherly. Like they're actually, if they're evil, they're evil. If they're mean, they're mean. They're complex characters, and that's what they need. They should write complex characters instead of trying to make them likable.
And women are complex people, because like when you look at the one thing I like, one of the things that I liked about Black Panther, not Black, is Luke Cage, because Luke Cage, I had low expectations, working fuck up Cage on purpose, but they did it. But like, what's Simone Essence's character, Misty Knight? Like when she tried to act like she was extra strong, like when her arm got cut off, like she would cry, but she would kind of pick herself up after the fact to allow herself to have that emotional experience. That's very telling, because a lot of women won't really allow themselves to have that, because they think if they have it, they think they're automatically weak. So I like seeing that. She was a lot more trusting in the movie. Remember when I say that,
when she swung with that nub and the homeboys knocked the shit out of her. I said, okay. They said, that's believable.
What'd she say?
Oh, when she had in that fight and she swung her nub because her hand wasn't there and homeboy knocked the shit out of her.
Yeah, and when that happened, it really goes to the writing. And then when you look at Black Mariah's daughter, I mean, I liked her because she was very like, you could tell what happened. Like she wasn't in that family. You could tell how she moved and how she operated. She didn't really that intergenerational bullshit. But the more she dealt with her mom, the more, and that was really telling too. Now I think that they twisted her character a little bit too fast into a negative character. She's supposed to be Nightshade and shit. Now the way she killed was damn. But I really like what Alfred Woodard did with the character. I had one dude, he was talking stupid, telling me, "But Alfred Woodard, her old ass being with a young dude, that's ugly as hell." And then I went back and forth with him. I said, "Okay, hold on, who would you pick?" "Man, I'd pick Monique." I said, "Nigga, shut the fuck up." I blocked him. I'm like, look, you could have got Angela Bassett, but Angela Bassett would cost too much. So for what they needed at the price, it made sense. And the way they ended,
it was supposed to make you feel uncomfortable. That's the whole thing. It wasn't supposed to make you feel
Monique, bruh.
I mean, look, man. Don't even start. I don't have an issue with Monique, but don't say somebody looks ugly. I'm not even trying to say Monique is ugly, but Monique is not like a vast improvement over Alfred Woodard. And plus, Monique, Netflix ain't gonna hire her ass anyway because how much money she gonna want. So my point is, plus Alfred Woodard is one of the most decorated actresses in Black Hollywood too, by the way. And the way she killed that role. I mean, she made the season. I mean, she carried it the whole time. So, even when Luke Cage was talking to her, when they were thinking about throwing her to the Jamaican dude, and she was like, like just how she was just talking shit. I got a great aunt. It's just like that. Like just like that. You can't tell her.
Now I can talk shit because I'm off the bar now.
Oh, okay.
But Black Mariah, I like what they did. Alfred Woodard killed that character, and Shades got better. And I like the thing with Danny. I think they're getting better with Danny Rand because I think he's next up on a season 2 of Iron Fist. So he's better in the Defenders, and he's better in this. So it was good. It was much. Oh, and that Jamaican dude killed it. That like the accent and just. But that I'm gonna tell you, the thing that got to me more than anything was that scene when they killed all the Jamaican people. The way they shot that really got to me, man. It really did, and that's just kudos to the way they shot it. When they
got to you how? Got to you how? What do you mean?
Like when you just saw that, okay, the way they killed the first one, and then they started running, and then the dude shot him, and then next thing you know, it was like pop, 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 and the way it was lit up, it really made me feel for those people in the way that usually I was like, wow.
because it got that because the experiment was the Punisher, and the Punisher was extremely violent, and once people accepted the Punisher, they can actually do it on all the other ones because the other ones were actually fighting violent but not bloody like this.
You call it the Punisher violent. I call it the 4th of July in Baltimore.
That one scene in Luke Cage, it showed the arrangement and how much empathy was lost by Mariah. It showed how much empathy Shades had, because Shade kept saying there's rules to this shit, and that was the underlying theme through the whole Luke Cage season 2. And it showed how some of the best people they're doing the wrong thing.
You know why she burnt that dude. You got to remember. I'm probably giving away something to, in the commentary. It's because she became her aunt. She became the what was it? Was it her aunt?
Yeah, it was her grandmother.
The grandmother, yeah. Because she's the one that did that through the burnt up Bushmaster's mother.
I didn't catch that, and I'm so like that.
Yeah, so she became her.
I mean, goddamn, I'd be fucked up too if my daughter was if my daughter's father was my uncle.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, it's not that she's fucked up because of the family that she was born in. The thing is, that's like when she told Luke, "You made me find myself. This is who I really am." She tried to be something else. She was a congressman. She didn't want to be part of the gang stuff. She didn't want to be a gangster. She didn't want to be none of that. Remember in the first season? And in this scene, you saw her actually becoming her grandmother.
Yeah, and they're really, I mean, it's crazy, man. 'Cause like I said, Luke Cage, they would have just did 8 episodes in the first season, and they'd be damn near flawless. It really, I mean, that Diamondback shit just didn't make sense in the context, but it is what it is. But man, the way they ended Luke Cage too is a way I never thought they would end it. Where now you putting him in a position to where now let's see if power corrupts absolutely. And even when Misty Knight was like, I won't hesitate to bust you, which she, whatever. But and even when he was like, he looked at him, and then him and what's the other dude, like Sugar, looked at her, and then she had that look like, well, how black women get, like, what? Like, yeah, get the fuck out of here. By the way, Misty Knight, she wears the hell out of some of those dresses, man. She's somebody that cleans up very well.
She's basically, if because they actually have to dress her down because that's a fine bitch. It is a fine bitch. I have to admit, she's one fine bitch.
Yeah, and her husband, who her husband is, right?
Yeah, it was Cockroach. Yeah.
Yeah, so when he was talking about you gonna be handled, I was like, when I found that out, I'm like, wow. Hey man, she hooked it up. But Mariah's daughter was very attractive too. I like where they're going with her character too, because her character in the comics as well. And yeah, man, I can believe it. In fact, Sub-Zero said that she looks plain, and I said, dude, they're doing that on purpose. Because I've seen like if you actually see her, like what you're showing her is with her with like no makeup at all or anything. Like and she's actually very attractive even with that. So yeah, man. Yeah. Like,
Disney's not gonna leave any holes in the stable, trust and believe. They will leave no holes in the stable. They all have to hit the streets. Anyway, got about 20 more minutes, guys, and we're gonna ask you to hang out.
Okay. Well, no, I got a question. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, peace, brothers. Yeah, I started watching y'all talking about Star Wars. I saw Solo. I enjoyed it, but I understand why the fans hated it. Now, going to Luke Cage, I thought Alfred Woodard's character became a G when she killed Diamondback in the first season. I didn't expect that. But the way they ended season 2, as Edward was saying, we're going to make Harlem great again. Sound familiar, doesn't it? And the dude in the barbershop, the kid that was selling the t-shirts, like, wait a minute, Luke Trump, what you doing? And see, I like that. See, and the thing is, Luke's now in a precarious position because he made deals with that other white lady, or that Russian lady, to keep crime out of certain parts of Harlem. And I'm like, oh hell no! See, I couldn't compromise.
That's
he was forced to because he took the basically.
Well, he shouldn't be forced to do anything. He should be forced to do nothing. If it was me, I'd be forced to fight. I said, no, you're not bringing crime nowhere. So I'd fight her. I mean, that's just me. I would,
You can't kill them all. You can't be every place in one spot. So that was the
maybe not, but you can sure try, or you can have some friends.
Yeah. So how many people are you willing to lose? In the trial?
I'd rather be the kingpin of crime than to have no control at all.
You gotta have. That's the way they wrote it. It's the only way. That's the only way that you could actually do it. Is doing what he did.
I understand, but I respectfully disagree with y'all. But that's just
you understand. But the thing is, at the end of the day, what are you gonna do? Other than,
exactly.
What are you gonna do? You got to choose.
Are you willing to lose your?
In other words, have you ever heard nature abhors a vacuum?
Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead, Charles.
Here's a question. Would you rather have to be in bed with the devil you know or the devil you don't?
The devil. Well, Luke really doesn't know her, technically.
Guess what? He knows the devils, and he knows how to keep them at bay. So guess what? Usually, to keep the monsters at bay, what happens? You have to become one yourself.
No, and I get that because
I get that too. I see your point. But if it was me, and the minute I made the deal, and she turned her back, I'd snap her head off.
Well, that's what happens. That's what happens if you break your deal.
No. If you snap her head, what's going to happen? Somebody's going to rise up and do what? One second. No. What's going to happen, Malik? If you snap her head,
I know what's going to happen. It's going to start a war.
No, Malik. No,
unless it was on the downward part.
Can I talk, please? Thank you.
No.
In other words, it's water. That's what they were trying to say. That's how come she said it's a dam. It's water.
Yeah, it's called bust loops. Yeah, I know.
So in other words, if human nature, crime is always going to be with us. Like Jesus said, the poor will be with you always. Crime is going to be with you always, right? So if you snap her head off, shut down her operations, and there's money to be made, guess what's going to happen?
Somebody else is going to step in.
Somebody is going to step in, and so on and so forth. That's how come he said.
I get that. I was just thinking that if you can make an example out of someone, a strong example out of someone, nobody's going to rise up and touch.
When has that ever worked?
That never worked.
It's got to work some way. Somehow it's got to work. I mean,
No. I asked you a question.
I understand. I hear your question.
No, you didn't. You didn't answer it. 100,000 years of human history. When has that ever worked?
Well, it's never worked.
Thank you. So, is it believable that he could do it? It has never worked, and we keeping it real?
I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. But
then you got to factor in.
But look, if you believe in God, wouldn't God devise a way of and bring us an individual to where it would work?
Well, has he?
No, he hasn't.
Well, thank you. That's the God makes it the way it is.
Real quick, and then you also have to factor in. And then you have to factor.
Go ahead, Emmanuel first, and then Edward.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say real quick to build on what BGS is saying. Not only will the new person step in to fill the vacuum, you got to keep in mind it's the difference between dealing with the already established mellow criminal that's secure in their position and dealing with an up and coming upstart who's like, you know what, I'm gonna burn this mother down and show everyone who I am. That's the more dangerous one.
Because if he wanted to put somebody in place, he could actually put in Bushmaster and put him in there in control of it.
Yeah. Another thing too is that's how you wind up getting people like the Joker. By the way, when Batman got rid of the mafia, that's also when you look on the other side of it, you get like look at what the Punisher did even within that universe. Like the Punisher did exactly. I get what you're saying, Malik. The Punisher did exactly what you're talking about, and that didn't work out. Another thing too is Daredevil was thinking that same way too. This is why I was going to ask y'all. What do you all think about Elektra as a character?
I think they're going to.
Elektra is a B-level character.
Yeah.
Even in the comics, she was always B-level.
Well, if you can do Jessica
Jones, they made a movie about her. The movie was garbage.
Yeah.
The actress that played Elektra was awesome.
I disagree. I thought she was pretty good. I mean, she's
a B. Electra's.
I said
Electra's always been a B-level character to me. She's never been of anything. The biggest significance is when fucking what's his name, Bullseye killed her in the comics. That's the only time she's been significant.
I'm talking about in the Netflix thing. I get what you're saying.
In the Netflix thing, she's the same way. She's not significant.
I mean, she'd be about as good as a Jessica
Jones.
Jones.
The villain of the Defenders. I mean, come on, man.
I mean, the Defenders. Which one? You talking about the Netflix of Defenders?
Yeah.
I mean, she was not all that great. Like, she was like a V8 moment. You could have had a V8. I mean, guess what? You looking at a character that's probably going to end up being an anti-hero similar to the Punisher. She might get her own series and end another romantic relationship with fucking Daredevil. Oh, I'm sorry for all you people who may be looking forward to the series. I just spoiled all that shit for you. But she's not all that great. She's not even that great of a character in the comics.
What they could do,
she's always a great supporting character.
Charles Walker, Dr. Panther. What they could do with Daredevil and Pauline is do a story about the hand, or do something about.
They've already fucked up.
They did that. It's called the Defenders.
Yeah, they fucked up the hand. Like they really did.
I mean, you got to look at it. See, the problem is, it's like with a lot of Marvel merchandise. It's where stories and dreams go to die. Like they fucked up a lot of continuity, and they sold their souls over their faithful people who bought the books over to get new buyers
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of ways. And it's like, okay, you give me this, and then you give me a bastardized version of it. I'm glad, like in the Luke Cage, you gave me Power Man and Iron Fist, but you got to understand something. They were always the heroes for hire. Luke Cage was always a hero for hire. Guess what, motherfucker? You want protection? Hire me. What's your bank account looking like?
Oh shit.
Now, see, Charles, I hear what you're saying. That's where I think that's wrong. That's wrong. If you're a hero, you shouldn't be a hero for hire. You should be a hero because it's in your heart. Oh, and
Okay,
BGS.
we got an old saying in Baltimore. Shit.
Okay, I get you. Oh, and BGS.
Yes, sir.
That
I'm a
question
lot of
that you
people's
asked
heroes,
earlier, and
but
I
guess
answered it. You said, when has God ever sent us somebody to stop all crime? You're right. But maybe God's waiting for a warrior to rise up to do that, to sacrifice all to stop all crime.
And God damn it, that has ever happened.
No, basically,
I hear you. Okay.
If you understand, if you're a Gnostic, you understand why there has to be two sides. Okay. You can't get rid of evil because you need a choice.
You can't get rid of free will.
You can't have free will without what? Without choice.
Choice.
So in other words, the only way to get one choice is you actually have an opposite. Opposite is evil or Satan, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah, like opposites attract.
So basically, what happens here on this world is by our own choice.
I hear what you're saying, BGS. And you're right. Hey, BGS, you sound like Neo right there in the Matrix.
No, you gotta look at it as
version.
Okay.
You gotta look at it as a cop. As a police officer who can retire in 20 years, right? Am I gonna end all crime? Yes or no?
No.
So what is my job to do?
Is to police it.
Police it and maintain it.
Yep.
Okay? That's the same thing what it is. Luke took the greater of the two evils. Either I sit my black ass in a barbershop and let a war go on, and I can only just save so many casualties.
Or you can sit on the throne. Yeah.
Or I can sit on the throne and control the son of bitches.
If you want to get rid of the vast majority of crime, you put a tyrant on the throne.
You have to. It's like, for example, when I went to Iraq, guess what? Saddam Hussein was the greatest ally we never had to really pay.
Wow. Okay.
You know why? Because if you were part of Al Qaeda, he'll kill you.
Yeah.
So
that's ironic, considering Saddam Hussein and Bin Laden were very much alike in mentality, of course.
You gotta think about it. You gotta look at the people of the Middle East who were born there.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing they respect is what? Power. Mm-hmm. Who's in control?
Yeah.
They don't understand kindness and diplomatic shit.
Yeah. Go ahead, Charles.
They like people who can control power. Remember, you gotta understand, in America, we're so feminized. Can you give me a root beer about it? Where we're going? But yeah.
Wait. A root beer?
But like this.
A root beer.
Well, I drank about 3, 4, 7 drinks. Okay. I just need a root beer.
All right.
Like I was saying, here in the West, we're so pushy to the feminized way of thinking that we want to be diplomatic. Over there in the East and the Middle East, they're like, nah, motherfucker, we're gonna John Wick your ass. Either do what I say or lay down or get down. That's all they care about.
Singapore is very, very safe, very clean, very low crime, right?
Yeah, I've been to Singapore.
So in other words, but if you actually you get caned. I'm being really caned with 10 strokes, 20 lashes with a cane for spray painting a wall, for graffiti,
for littering.
Yeah, for littering. In other words, there's zero tolerance for crime, right?
Locked up abroad, somebody littered. Oh my God.
Yeah. In other words, there's tyrants that sit on the throne. It's very controlled. Same thing with Japan. Japan is very calm. It's very nice, but the thing is, You do something wrong. There's zero tolerance. Okay.
Well,
No, Captain James T. Kirk. I'm not Luke Cage. I'm the
Mr.
Falcon.
It just looks like it.
low crime.
He was like maybe
Low
7
crime.
inches taller. He'd be Luke Cage.
Like, you know, but well, and I get what Malik. I get what you're saying, Malik. I get that mentality, but because they addressed that in the TV series as well. In fact, they addressed that in Daredevil. Because Daredevil kept saying in season 2, I keep on doing shit and it's not working. And Claire had to say, man up, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Because I keep on plugging stuff and it just keeps happening. I just don't understand, you know. And it's just different levels of it. And when you're on the hell, they addressed that in Civil War.
It's like for example. That's like, for example, when I go to work and I got to go on the streets, there's only but so much I could be diplomatic and speak to people. And there's sometimes I got to take a nightstick to a motherfucker. Do I want to? No. But sometimes you got to do what gets the result.
Yeah, well, it is what it is.
So
Sometimes I don't mind it. I mean, but guess what? You got to look at it. There's always that one motherfucker that, like Blade said, there's always that one motherfucker that always tries to ice skate uphill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you gotta correct them. It's like when white people say, "Why do you beat your kids?" So they don't go shooting up your schools. That's why we beat our kids.
Go ahead, June.
We talk about the whole Machiavellian concept of it's better to be feared. I mean, it's better to be feared than to be loved. So,
fuck yeah!
Well, that's the age-old question, is it not?
You go.
Yeah.
Thank you. I got my root there. Thank you.
That's the dilemma.
Yeah.
That's the answer is both.
But it's impossible to have both, right?
No, it's not. No, Putin is feared and loved in Russia.
Maybe it's a little bit more fear on the fear side than love. Right?
Okay, who said? Oh, wait a minute, BGS. I hate to cut you off on your own show, but who said that phallus bullshit just now?
About what?
About you can't have both.
Oh, it was June.
It was who?
June. The Chinese.
Hey, June. Hey, June. You know I love you, man.
Love you too.
You know I love you.
Yes.
But I gotta debunk your shit. You can be feared and loved. You can be respected but not loved at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? I got a lot of people who says fuck you, Charles, but not to my face. Okay?
Well, of course not.
They know there's some repercussions to that. They know they got some repercussions if they step.
Mm-hmm.
So they stay on their line of the tracks and I stay on mine.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this is what a lot of men go through in the Americas. A lot of men go through, I love you, but I don't respect you.
Exactly.
You gotta remember, June's Chinese, man. You gotta forgive him, okay? He's Chinese.
Looking for motherfucker. Sometimes. I'm gonna turn my camera on. Stop the bullshit. Stop the bullshit while I'm smoking.
He's to understand
the bullshit, okay?
All right, y'all. Closing thoughts.
All right. Well, I just want to say that you got Iron Fist coming out next, and they think that's Punisher after that. So, and then we'll see. You know what's going on with this Disney shit. So, anyway, appreciate it.
Right.
Hey, excuse me. I got one last point. Edward, I heard that Iron Fist, the first Iron Fist, the fans didn't like too much, so they said they were going to make Iron Fist 2. But if they are, I mean, I would like to see it myself too, because I like to see the story continue from where it left off at the end of the first season, where that girl and his friends are about to turn on him.
Yeah, when Netflix doesn't turn over their numbers, but they say Iron Fist was like one of the most watched ones, which I don't know how true that is. That's what they said, but they did say that they're doing another Iron Fist. They're going to take another stab at it.
The problem I have with Iron Fist is the actor who played Daniel Rand. He didn't have enough martial arts skills to convincingly pull off what he was supposed to do. So hopefully he practices martial arts, and they can.
His martial arts look good to me. I mean, that's just me. I know.
Yeah, they've been putting other characters in. They've been seeing those other characters, like in Luke Cage, you had the Chinese girl, which is really good. And then you had him in one episode. So if they were just gonna go cold turkey, they would have just went cold turkey. So we'll see. You never know. You don't know what these people.
I'm hoping for season 2. I would like to see because I like the actor who played Danny Rand. I thought it was good. You know what I mean? For what it was. You know, because look at this. The live version is better than the comic version. I saw a glimpse of the comic version in a comic book I bought. The comic book version looks kind of geeky, like he wearing all his yellow and got something funny on his head. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is Iron Fist in the comics.
Malik,
that's the comic.
Yeah.
Are you a comic book fan?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I don't really go against the 70s style because that's when Iron Fist came out, and that wouldn't be too relevant today. But
no,
my whole point of the show is when I watch action, you got to make it seem believable. So they kind of did too much camera flipping, like they never showed his face, and he never did real combat. Like the guy who played Daredevil, it seemed like he was really doing the combat, even if it wasn't. Even if they had stunt doubles, you got to do it better. And for what he was doing, he should be in much better shape. Physically, he didn't look like he was a martial artist. So you don't have to be cut up, but you do got to look like you're a martial artist. He didn't look like one. That's all.
I hear that. That's true. Yeah, because you got to remember when Hollywood has been doing these characters now, bringing them to life. There's a lot of backlash and kind of like shortcomings with certain characters. You know what I mean? With certain actors, certain actors shouldn't be playing the characters. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, but see, Hollywood would never get it 100% correct. You know what I mean? That's the only problem. Just like the X-Men movies, a lot of people had a lot of problem with X-Men movies, and I've seen all of them too, and I understand how some of them are backwards because one character they did between X-Men Origins Wolverine and X-Men First Class, the same character who had diamond skin, they made her look middle-aged in the First Class, and she was a teenage girl in X-Men Origins Wolverine. I'm like,
we treat that like Superman Returns. It never happened.
It never happened. Okay.
That one be sucked.
Closing thoughts.
All right, closing thoughts. Who's next?
Yo, what happened to the Global being in closed session?
Pretty much.
Damn. Them sound some bitches in there.
Damn. Who you riding with, Charles?
It's my pilot, Joshua Hall.
Okay.
We're riding the SSS Enterprise.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah, goddamn, y'all out hunting, huh?
Well, no, we were out drinking. I mean, I did not hunt, so to speak. I think I didn't hunt.
Officer Char?
Uh-huh.
Drink and drive.
I'll say that again.
Hey, what is this? A training mission or what?
Oh no, he got about 5 years on. He got half the time I got on.
Oh, all right, okay.
Where I'm like the Grandmaster thought breaker. He's still.
He's still looking for his weapon, huh?
No, instead of an axe, he has a lightsaber.
Okay, all right.
We're going to all the cops in the area saying do some fucking work, so they realize it's us. Then they like, oh shit,
you monks. Who's next? Anybody else before I jump off?
I got something to say, but real quick,
Go
I
ahead.
appreciate what's going on. I would love to have more Star Wars type dialogues. This has been a pleasure. It was too short for me, but hopefully one day we'll have more chances.
Well, it's up to you guys, since none of the haters and feminists or black women came through, so it worked out well. So it's just geek talk, so we don't have it that often. All right.
I just want to say, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say thanks for hosting the chat, and I'll say this real quick. I'm almost ashamed to admit it, but I'm shocked at how good The Runaways was. I was watching it, wanting to hate it, but surprisingly, it's pretty damn good, and I'm looking forward. I know you're gonna not like this, BGS. I'm looking forward to the next season of Star Trek Discovery. I'm sorry, I like it.
It's okay. I don't hate it. It's okay. We're saying I say that if you look at all the other series of Star Trek, even the first season always kind of slow, and then they kind of pick up. So I'm hoping this one will actually pick up in the second season, because they kind of like define the characters and what they actually the direction of the show. They kind of change the direction of the show right in midstream.
You talking about the one with the black captain?
Yeah, well, she's not a captain yet, but yeah.
Quick question.
Oh, you talking about that fine motherfucker there?
She is fine, and she's just as sweet as she is fine. So yeah.
One question, BGS.
Yes,
sir. God is cruel because she's married.
That never stopped her before.
I wish I could marry that mom chick on Instagram.
What's CG3? I can barely hear you.
You said that Star Trek Discovery was slow. In which way do you think it's slow? Just give me a brief overview.
I think it's slow is because the episodes are all over the place. There's really no defined direction, so it's kind of like confused. And Star Trek needs like a direction. And when I say it's slow, in other words, it hasn't defined itself yet. So even though they try to replace it with action, but that's not really what Star Trek is. It takes, like, say, even Deep Space Nine. At first, the first season, we thought it was going to be, it's not going to work. And then as the seasons went on, it got better and better and better. They actually improved upon it, which is what it's. So I think it's actually going to get better. Right now, it's like, meh, I can take it or leave it. But anyway, with that, you guys, I'm going to bid you guys a good night, and I will see you guys Saturday.
Good night. Peace, brother.
All right, peace.
Peace.
I need
My closing thoughts will be.
Yeah, I need a real. We just came from the bar and shit. You know, I was the designated driver. He had more drinks than I did, so.
Nigga, when do alcohol affect me like you mere mortals?
He's mere mortals.
Like he's you know, Thanos and shit.
Do I need to snap my fingers, motherfuckers?
Hey, can I ask you a question? Is he the real life bunk?
What's good with you though? They got you here on.
Say that again.
Hey, is he bunking? Is he bunk in real life?
If I'm what?
Are you bunk in real life, like on The Wire?
Yeah, I'm solid at profiling. Stomach doesn't stick out.
Not yet. Huh?
Yeah, trust me, I have no stomach. All I am is the best stop breaker that a woman could have.
Yeah.
Down, Mongo, down.
Let me put it to you this way.
Right.
Show me a lady and she won't be able to get off of me. Yes.
Where's Stephanie at,
motherfucker, that's a good example, motherfucker. Nigga, I'm more addicted to heroin. Okay?
Y'all ain't shit. All right, I'll see y'all later.
Yes.
All right.